I feel awful.
Nice. I will post this on my Discord server.
You do what you want.
And while this is like happening, my short
That's a good
story will
idea.
also release at the same time, and they will be confused.
You should confuse them further. Right now we're live, so it's already being
on
recorded.
this stream.
So watch what you say, boys and girls.
I'm gonna say all the offensive things now.
No, I mean like something that would, I don't know what anybody would say that would get them in trouble.
Okay, I've posted this to my own Discord. Did you post this on Twitter?
I can. Nobody looks at my Twitter at all, so except for like,
I look at your Twitter.
Yeah, that's about it. Like I don't have a lot of people using my Twitter, following me on Twitter, but I post my stuff usually on the Discord server because I'll probably get more traction there, or on directly on YouTube, like as a post. But social media doesn't exactly get a lot of traction. Or I post the stuff that I'm doing, or I uploaded onto Facebook groups that kind of have people on there talking about mental health shit.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I'm always. What's funny is that I'm on Twitter a lot because I'm trying to like network. I fucking hate Twitter, and I'm trying to like get a hold of. That's where like a lot of the academics are, like a lot of the professors and people like that are on there trying to like connect to others and arguing about things. So I try to like get into their conversation so they can see my stupid ass. And it sometimes works. So. Hopefully,
I love Twitter because I hate it. It's like the worst fucking website on the internet.
Yeah, it's fucking cancer.
But that's why I like it. It's because it's just so terrible. It's a lot of fun to be there.
It's so bad. Everything, the entire design, everything about it is bad. The word limit.
Yeah, but mainly the people.
Well, the people and the word limit, and the echo chambers and everything else that develops from inside though. And then the algorithm, the way it sets up like how people get tweets and what tweets they get and what stuff gets recommended to them and everything else. It's so fucking awful.
I follow a lot of accounts that like find shit from inside of the echo chambers. They're like embedded in there, and then they occasionally will take those posts out. And there is some weird shit being said on Twitter. Like,
oh yeah, no,
it's
some
all of the
shit.
village. Yeah, all of the village insane people that have like existed throughout history. Throughout history have just been isolated from each other by geographic distance, are now in the same place, and there's like a lot of them.
Well, they find
that's kind of a double-edged sword because there's people that were isolated from each other that we kind of maybe wanted to group up.
I caught you
Yeah.
We have one viewer. Congratulations.
The other side of that fucking coin. Yeah,
it usually takes the stream like 10 to 15 minutes before people actually show up. It's kind of hilarious.
I was going to do a pre-stream to get everybody ready, but my internet cut out, so I couldn't do it.
Is it going to cut out today?
Well, I moved, remember? And my internet was down over here. But it
yeah. It seems to be better here, huh?
It just got fixed, so.
I'm eating cookies.
Are they keto cookies?
Yes.
Yeah,
because you're a big fat ass?
Yeah.
Oh.
Correct.
You are.
You know what I did recently? I do intermittent fasting anyway, where I don't eat for 16 hours per day. But also, I just didn't eat for 3 days for like a couple of weeks ago, and that was actually very good.
Well, you look a lot thinner than you were like a year ago or 2 years ago. I know that.
I did actually lose a lot of weight during the pandemic, especially last year when I started intermittent fasting. When I started intermittent fasting, I like lost 15 kilos in 2 months. Like,
I used to be like 100 pounds heavier. I was fucking huge.
Who would have guessed that not eating makes you lose weight?
Yeah. It has a bunch of health benefits too. Like you sort of give your microbiome a break. There's a theory that basically the whole gastrointestinal tract was never designed to be constantly operating. It's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good thing to do. This is mildly uncomfortable.
There we go. Maybe you shouldn't be sitting on things.
Yeah, but then I'm fucking.
Is this the part of the stream where we wait for people to join?
No, there's already people joining. We got
Oh,
Tom.
okay.
Hello, Tom. Hello, Arboreal. Hello, Posh. Hi there, Tom again. Yeah, we got like 4 or 5. Eventually, it'll turn up little by little. Tiny
Okay.
ass channel. So
Is this a normal way to sit? Do people sit like this? Is this
is what a normal way to sit.
Some people sit like that, yeah.
No, but I'm saying you shouldn't be sitting on an object while trying to stream.
Why not?
Well, I mean,
what the fuck?
You're
are
sitting
you
on a chair,
on?
hypocrite.
no, I'm talking about like that's entering one's body.
What? Where did that come from? There's no connection to anything. You just
Well,
pull that out of
there is to
pull that
me.
out of your ass.
No.
Yeah, this is
Well,
better,
what I'm
actually.
saying is people should pull things out of their ass prior to going on stream.
Okay.
I did actually take a shit in the shower earlier, so
In the shower?
no, I didn't do that. But
Okay.
He likes to juggle it.
that would have been. I like to go. I take shits naked. It's a power move.
I think your favorite philosopher
I-
once took a shit in the shower and reported it.
What, Diogenes?
He gets that. No, he gets it. He
No,
gets
this has to be Zizek, isn't it?
No. Oh, maybe not. Maybe too obscure.
Okay.
You did a video on the Amazing Atheist once, and he posted a video where he said he accidentally shit in the shower. He described it in vivid detail.
Yeah, he really is doing the work that no scientist has dared do before, honestly.
It just
I mean,
slipped out
actually-
of there.
Yeah, we had this in Boys Home where it's like early in the morning, like it's like fucking 7:30. We're all sitting around the table
Hey, Moss.
eating cornflakes, and fucking the cleaning lady has just arrived, and she like is screaming upstairs in the bathroom. Like, comes downstairs like in the thickest Polish accent. Somebody took a shit in the shower. Like, god damn. Yeah, we didn't know who it was, but it turned out later. We found out later. It's like my roommate. He was like, "Yeah, this is this one kid," because like someone had told him that it feels like really good to sort of detach the shower head and then sort of stick the thing where the water just comes out inside Uranus.
Oh no!
And so he did.
That's a power move. The ultimate power move is what I do is I take a shit with my boxer briefs on, sitting on the toilet.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, so anyway, he pumped the water up his ass, and then it sort of like flushed out a bunch of shit, and it just fell into the shower, and he didn't know what to do because it was the bathroom that only had a shower and not a toilet.
Oh no!
So he sort of just
So he basically
fucked off.
douched. He anally douched himself. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, apparently that's what he did. Yeah,
Yeah, people do this intentionally. I used to sell products designed for this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did it by accident.
Yeah, he
That's
anally
what he
douched himself
did.
by accident. Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for that story. Let me see. I feel like now I have to quickly contribute a poop story that has nothing to do with me. There was when I used to work at Game Crazy, back when it was still around. Yes, it was a competitor to GameStop at the time, and maybe late, what was it, 2008, 6 or something? 7, I don't know. But point is, there used to be this kid. There was something up with him. He had some kind of learning disability. He used to come into the store all the time, and you know how there'd be those kiosks with all the demo systems and people could play?
Well,
what I'm
I've
talking
never
about?
been to Game Crazy, but I can imagine
but just
what
in
you
general,
mean.
like a video game
Yeah.
store would have these little kiosks, and they'd be like the consoles connected to the TVs, and then you can try out the systems and the games, like in
I
person.
don't know this from those specifically, but I remember this from like big electronics stores.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I mean in general. So this kid would come in and he'd demo whatever games would be there. Kid was probably around, I don't know, 11, 12, well, like 12 or 13, right? And he always kind of smelled very bad. And he would come in and he was nice enough, but he was very awkward, and you can tell there's just something communication wise that they have issues with. And there was one time where they walked in and they were playing games, and I kid you not, a ball of shit just fell down their like trousers, like onto the ground, like a ball of hard shit, not like I'm not talking like diarrhea, just like a clump of dump. And
no.
it hit the ground, and he just kept playing.
He didn't notice.
Oh, dude.
He didn't notice.
No, it was like the way a goat would just poop while walking around. Without being aware that it pooped, like it doesn't acknowledge it pooped. It just, it fell out.
Oh no!
And he just stood there, and I was watching. I was like organizing the games or something. I look over what game he was playing, and all I just see is this poop fall out of his shorts. And I didn't know what to do because I was like, that guy just shit on my floor. And I was just like, I was kind of laughing, but at the same time, I remembered I was working by myself, so I'm gonna end up having to clean that shit off the floor. And he's like, if it was like some other person or somebody that wasn't, some kind of handicapped individual, I would probably get pissed and tell them to clean their own shit off the floor. Right? I'd be like, here's a fucking paper, here's a fucking thing, clean your fucking shit. Right? Yeah. But I can't do that to this kid because he's not all there. And so I just kind of have to go up to him and be like, hey man, you gotta go. I'm sorry. And he's like, why? And I was like, because I have to clean the game systems. They're dirty. No. and I got to reset some stuff. And they're like, okay. And then they walked out. And on the way out, another little clump fell out. and
man.
And so then I had to lock the store up and clean this mentally handicapped kid's poop off the floor.
Why was he there? No one was like protecting
because he's
him,
normally. That's the thing. He should be someone with supervision.
Yeah.
But he walks from his home, whatever shitty apartment he lives in, with whatever family is not taking care of him, and he comes to play video games in the store. And from that point on, though, we had to. Anytime we saw him coming, we had to like turn off the systems.
Oh no.
Because we didn't want to like tell him that he wasn't allowed to be in the store anymore. Because we felt kind of bad for him. Because God knows what his living situation was. So then we would just turn off the systems and be like, "Oh, they're just not working right now." And he'd be like, "Okay," and then he would leave and go somewhere else. And then he'd be like,
"It is kind of considerate of you to like."
I don't know how to go. I didn't know at the time how to go up to him and tell him, "Hey, man, you pooped all over my floor," because he probably didn't even know he did it. He probably wasn't like aware that it happened, and the whole thing was tragic. Eventually,
what if he did it on purpose?
Back.
What if he was a really creative, like antisocial personality disorder?
He's just a troll. He just shits on my floor and pretends to be
like fucking Galaxy Brain 4D chess.
Just shits on my floor and pretends to be like handicapped.
Yeah.
So he goes into the store for like years. He doesn't shower for several years, so he smells
I just
really
realized that like every job I ever had up until this point, at some point or another, I had to deal with shit. Like actual human shit, like at some point or another. That's sobering.
Humans shit. So like wherever humans are, eventually.
No, but I'm talking about like shit hitting the ground or the wall.
I know. Yeah, well, like if you go out and you talk to geese, like you're gonna have geese shit on the ground. It's not different with humans. Like you just wait long enough, it'll show up.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so now that there's like 10 or 11 or 12 people here, let's get started on an actual conversation of any kind of significance, which is probably going to be just as significant as any other conversation. You asked me.
Okay.
So. The reason I have Berger on here today. Oh, by the way, I guess introducing Berger to people that don't know who this is. This is Bergerkrieg. Their actual name, if they want to say it, I don't remember if you do or don't on your channel.
I do. Well, I don't say it on my channel, but my name is Gideon.
Okay, so Gideon. I like saying Gideon better than that whole fucking Burger shit. It's too fucking long.
Yeah.
Call him Burger.
I actually, to be fair, I have.
Fine,
you told me your first name once, and I'm like, it's like a Spanish thing, but
it's not a Spanish thing. What the fuck?
No, what was it?
Spanish thing at all? Yeah, my first name's Jose. No, it's not a Spanish thing at all.
What do you? But you?
It's like a total. It's like a total. Like
it's like Western.
It's
like
super Western first name. What the hell are you talking about? Cancel racist.
Then but you are
German
Mexican,
racist Nazi.
Oh my God.
has appeared and said that my name must be Hispanic because of the color of my skin. Cancelled.
Yeah.
Racism.
No, my first name. I've doxed it a million times, so I'll just say it at this point. My name is Jonathan.
I have no idea.
But I guess
why
I just said that's
you...
of Spaniard or Hispanic origin. Jonathan. I'm pretty sure.
That's like Middle Eastern, is Jewish origin.
Yes, Jonathan.
I was convinced your name was Carlos, dude.
Carlos?
What?
Carlos. I don't know, for some
Mi nombre es Carlos.
reason, I was like,
Hola,
I was like, I know
Gracias
this
por
isn't
venir
his
en
name.
mi show de Schizoid, Desorden de Personalidad. Muchas gracias por venir aquí hoy. Is that what you expected?
Yo hablo español. Yo viví en España cuando era pequeñito.
Oh, entonces tienes el voz.
Oh, goodness.
Tu español es el Pan's Labyrinth español.
Pero es difícil entender el mexicano a veces.
Por eso así hablan los españoles, así con la pinche trompa.
Ese es el castellano.
La pinche trompa en el aire. Así le...
I have nothing to add.
No. I'm not even Mexican. I'm Costa Rican. So.
Oh, that's... Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah, you know, Carlos, Mexicans, Costa Ricans.
It's all this
you know,
base, all
Germans,
basically
Austrians,
Argentinians.
Polish.
How dare you!
French, British, same thing.
German, Slavs, all the same thing.
I love the thing that's happening right now with there's like refugees coming in and like everyone's in Germany's like, oh yes, we need to take them in. Hang on, let me find my German accent. Hello, yes, we need to take them in. Yeah, they are fleeing from terrible situation. And like 5 years ago, when it was like people getting raped in the Middle East, it was like, oh nein, the Browns are coming. We need to not let them in.
Well, just whatever the authority says is the good thing to be. Whatever the thing at the moment is. So.
Well, actually, like the Merkel was accepting of them, and now Scholz is accepting of the Ukrainians. It was really the culture. That's fucked up.
That's how it is. That's how it is with you Germans. That's just how it works.
Well, it's because they're white. Anyway.
Okay, so much for moving on.
Oh yeah, Burb, you do it for me.
What do you want?
I didn't finish. Go to this fucker's channel. He's got a channel, and they talk about things that they like, and go check out Bergerkrieg's OnlyFans account. Spread Eagle in Germany. It's great. It's a great watch.
Yeah, and check out Schizoid Angst too, the channel, if you don't know it already.
The channel that we're on right now.
The channel we're on. How would they be watching this if they didn't know about it?
It's a good channel. Let me hustle for a second.
Yeah, hustle whatever you gotta hustle. That way we can concentrate.
Premiere starts in like 2 minutes.
Thank you, Saucer, for sending me $1 and a poop.
Fucking Saucer, man.
He's
one of my top patrons. Friend of the show. Big man Saucer. He has really cool eyes. He has like shark eyes. Where like the pupil is the same color as the iris. It's fucking badass.
Wait, those are his actual eyes?
Well, not so I think that's like a profile picture.
No, I'm saying that I'm talking about in real life. His eyes look like that. It's not contact lenses or anything.
No, it's really cool.
Who sounds like a massive weeb, Saucer? I'm gonna guess you're talking about Bird.
What? Well, I haven't even said anything that much. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you have the nerdiest voice here.
Why? What do you mean? No, you do. What are you talking about?
No, I don't.
They do.
Ah, you sound hella masculine.
You're saying masculine people can't be nerds?
It's a joke, Bird.
I know.
As a Finn, I say,
Wasn't funny.
Right.
Yeah, Tom is from Finland.
Oh, I have a few Finnish folks.
I feel like this is, you know how all of Germany is like a little bit on the autism spectrum?
Yeah, is it?
I feel like Finland, all of it is a little bit on the schizoid spectrum. Like this.
Oh, just because of the culture?
Yeah,
how they're just
yeah.
kind of
Give us some examples. That's interesting. What makes you say
Well,
that?
like people in Finland, they Finland is a cold fucking country, like for half the year. And when they're at a bus stop, they will literally you know how you have like the bus stop and there's like a little house of glass there that you can stand under to like not be frozen to death in like the frigid storms of the Arctic Circle.
Mhm.
Yeah, Finnish people, when there's one person standing in that box, will stand outside of it, and then the person outside of it will take like at least 5 meters of distance to the. They didn't even have coronavirus in Finland. They don't even come within 5 meters of each other at any point. Not even when they're being born. Like they have like a funnel that they get people out with.
You think this is they're paranoid about other people?
No, they just want to. They just don't want to talk to other people. Like,
Ah.
just straight up, they just
Well,
not interested in social
that
interaction.
could be autism or schizoid or schizotypal or.
Yeah, but like they also have like a lot of they they have sauna, so
Saunas?
yeah. There's a game in Finland. There's a sauna game in Finland that I learned about. It's called Gollum.
Oh, I thought it was called grab ass.
It's it actually has something to do with that. It's basically I don't really go to saunas, but there's apparently like you can climb beneath the sauna, right?
Mhm.
And then people are sitting in the sauna, and they're sitting in the sauna naked because that's what you do. And then the person underneath the sauna needs to, through like the cracks beneath the wooden things, insert a finger into another person's ass. And then that person arsehole, like into the arsehole proper. And then that person becomes the golem and needs to climb underneath the sauna to do the thing. This is
It's a very gay game.
Super gay.
That's the
it's
game.
fucking
That's the
Finland.
gayest game.
I
I've
think
ever heard.
the test of whether you're gay or not is how you react to it.
Yeah.
So if you
Oh, I wanna be
if you
Gollum.
if you back up into it,
If you clench, you're straight. If you relax, you're gay.
the easier it slips in.
Putting the gay in game.
Always. Why am
All
I
right,
not aware of this
sorry.
game as a Finn? Yeah, Finnish Moss does not know about this game. I think Berger just made it up.
No, I saw it on
I think
4chan.
Berger's just trying to get us to play.
It might also be Swedish, so that's a whole different
Oh,
culture.
you just insulted all the Swedes and
But
all the Finns.
they also I don't care about Swedes.
Damn, any Swedes out there? Unsubscribe to Berger.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel kind of like out of loop because you guys have been talking about stuff, and I don't know like how much you've talked about. Or, like,
Okay, all right. Let's just get into it. So basically, the stuff that we've been discussing had more to do with what you saw in Berger's video pertaining to the whole it being some kind of a spectrum, autism to the schizotypal sort of stuff, and some of the ideas pertaining to that and theories we've discussed and everything. If you want to give just a quick rundown, Burb, so that we're on the same page with the definitions and everything, you can go for it.
You want me to define those things?
Yeah, just define them very quickly so that we're on the same page about what it is we're discussing here.
Okay. I mean, I guess I can give an analogy.
Give an analogy.
You might find that analogy useful. I don't know. It's one I've used before. So.
Oh, you're talking about the trees and the and all that shit?
No.
Okay, we've already done
a
that.
Different one.
Okay.
I'm using a different one. So imagine a gallery, an art gallery. One art gallery for one genre of art, right?
Yeah.
And so then within the art gallery, there are a bunch of different paintings on the walls. And there's people walking in and out of the gallery looking at the paintings. Okay. So your autistic person is going to be a person who looks at one painting and knows everything about it. He's going to be sitting there looking at one painting, right? And your normative individuals are going to be the ones who are walking around the gallery from painting to painting. And your schizophrenia spectrum person is going to be the one poking his head in through the doorway, wondering if art galleries are even worth his time.
I can imagine, and on top of that, you would have the equidistant people walking around discussing the art with each other in relation to who they are as people.
Right, but here's the thing. Here's the next part of the analogy is that the autistics and the schizophrenia spectrum people are so rare that they rarely bump into each other. So they're usually by themselves. They're usually by themselves talking about, but they're not talking because they're by themselves, right? But if you get them together, then they start talking like crazy because you have a bunch of autistic people around one painting, all talking about that one painting.
Yeah.
And then
So
you can
that's
have
an
a bunch
analogy,
of, and
yeah.
you can have a bunch of schizophrenic spectrum people looking talking outside about whether they should go in.
Well, no. Here's a better version of it. Like
Yeah.
it's talking about the different forms of art and how they all relate to each other, but not diving into any particular form in any detail.
Yeah.
To this broad view.
And discussing whether
yeah.
this particular art gallery is representative of art as a whole, considering it only covers one genre. Right?
And where is even the limits of that genre? Like, can you really put it all in the same
Yeah, no,
house?
exactly. And then is it what are the limits of the genre? What is the purpose of even limiting an art gallery to a specific genre? Does that serve any kind of purpose outside of like promoting a specific individual? What is the individual in relation to art? Blah 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 blah. Fucking so on and so
I
forth.
do love going to art galleries and to just make shit up. That's really fun.
What do you
That's
mean, like where you pretend like you know what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like I am very good at like I fucking suck my own dick here. Very good at like being
long as you
just
do it
at
on
like
camera.
the borderline where it's plausible, but you also think this might be bullshit. And then like sometimes I will say things that are correct, and then I will end the sentence with something that's incorrect, just to spread misinformation about art.
Well, so you're talking about you'll give a half baked, somewhat bullshit analysis about some kind of piece of art.
No, it's like there's like a shoe piece of art, whereas the piece of art is like he drew a shoe. It's like, oh yeah, this is the shoe that his mother wore on the day of his birth, and it's like this is So that's like the bit that's true, right? And he ended up, because people used to like wear shoes for a long time. They needed to last you, and they would like inherit the shoes. And he would actually, because it was so worn down, but because his mother had like, there would like be like a constant fucking the skin would drop off the feet all the time.
Wow.
And it would like punch down into the making the sole very stable, but like so stable that you couldn't walk with it, because it would like really hurt your foot. And also he was like a rich artist, so he could afford a new sole. So he would like make cheese in it and then
I can't tell how much of that was bullshit.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the whole
thing?
bit that wasn't bullshit was bullshit because there's no shoe piece of art.
Well, what's funny is that about halfway through that, I would have become bored anyway because you're talking about
Yeah,
a specific
yeah.
person and their shoe and their relationship with a shoe.
Oh, that's the. I do this with neurotypicals. Like I don't like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they're so stupid, right? Because they're so dumb, inferior, right? Is that why, Burger?
Yeah, exactly. I totally hate them.
Stupid NTs. We were talking about that issue a while ago on a stream. We were discussing. I typed in on Google on YouTube. I typed in neurotypicals. That's all I typed, and the first video that came up was, "Are neurotypicals stupid? Are neurotypicals are neurotypicals mean or evil?" And like videos like that. Yeah. It was pretty funny. I was like,
then we watched the video, and the guy was like blaming every bad thing that has ever happened on neurotypicals
in human history, and all the good things were on neurodivergent people.
Yeah,
that's a very correct and true view of the world that is not in any way distorted by like personal experience or ideology.
No. Exactly. I mean,
there's some accidental truth to it, because when you say neurotypical in that sense, it just means average in the middle of the bell curve. And so, well, if you're asking, did somebody do something? The chances that they're in the middle of the bell curve are fairly high, because there's a lot of people in the middle.
So there is a good chance that average people have done a lot of average, terrible things.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then we were also bringing up the fact that I'm like, if I wanted to make this channel actually grow, all I would have to do is pick like a side and then just feed into that bias. And then I'm sure if I did that, my channel would blow up. If I just did like streams where I would talk mad shit about how neurotypicals are inferior and how us schizoid or schizo spectrum people are so big brain and we all have giant cocks, like it would be a very, very successful channel.
I mean, that one just happens to be true, but you know, you don't need to.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. I was giving you, yeah. There's a correlation between dick size and schizospectrum, right? That they did in the studies.
Definitely, we all have giant dicks.
No, yeah, except for, but you know,
we only use them in our imagination, but
yeah, they're metaphorical penises.
Yeah, this is where I am not that far down the spectrum.
Well, why? Because your dick's too small.
No, I am a sex haver, and I have touched many breasts.
Oh no! There's plenty of sex havers amongst the
fucking
spectrum peeps. There's plenty of sex havers. There's plenty.
There's
also plenty of non-sex havers.
You know when there's like a pop song, and the fucking it's like kind of like a guy being soft. It's like, oh, I wanna break your heart, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then there's like a rap bit. And the rapper is always overcompensating to like, oh, I'm super hyper masculine and I have a big dick and I have 15 cars, just to like offset the gayness that people would be like mixing him up. It's like, oh, he was in a gay song. I can't like listen to this rapper again because he has lost his manly cred.
I don't think I've seen that. Then again, I don't listen to a lot of that stuff, so. I'm not.
I see this always.
So they pump up their masculinity when they do their rap portion.
Yeah, it's like the rap portion that always becomes about like how many women they like. It's the whole song is about how the guy loves this one woman and he will never leave her and never cheat on her.
But then the other guy
and then like the rapper comes and it's like, I got so many fucking bitches.
I spread my seed everywhere. And skeet and come in your butt.
Like, why are you in this song, dude? Like, so you're the antithesis of what is being said. Like,
somebody asked, is he? Well, first, Mr. Ognosis said, "Is he an artist?" And it said, "Autist." No, Bergerkrieg is not an autist. In fact, Bergerkrieg did an entire video recently about how they are not an autist.
But Bergerkrieg likes autists.
Yeah, Bergerkrieg loves autists far too much.
Yeah. Berger, you should tell us about what you think about autists and how you like them or don't.
The autists are cool. I like autists.
What about them do you like? He says.
When they have breasts.
You like autists when they have breasts. So you
no,
like
to be fair, I'm pretty sure. Like my ex is a little bit down the
what makes
the old spectralian. But
what makes you think that?
Because she would hyper concretize his dick.
Actually, a lot of the women that I've been with have been a little bit autistic. It doesn't matter. No, I like that they're not. I like that they're not neurotypicals. This is the fucking meme.
Wow.
I have no problem with neurotypicals.
Damn.
I just find them like boring. That's like there's a lot of them that are very cool
Unpack
and
that
not
one,
boring. But I find it very hard to talk to them for an extent because I always need to I feel like they have just nothing interesting to say.
To you.
Which isn't true from their perspective. From their perspective, everything they're saying is to them it's interesting. And the mundane shit that did you hear that Jesse Peterson now has a new haircut and they put a new thing on the lawn and now the grass is no longer the same size. You know, that kind of shit. They opened a new supermarket. It's kind of the old supermarket still, but it's a new logo on the supermarket.
Susan? She recently had a hanger abortion.
So equidistant stuff.
And that's the kind of shit that people that have autism don't really talk about unless they're hyperfixated on it. In which case it becomes interesting because they will know shit about that particular supermarket. They'll tell you that it was haunted in 1973 and fucking some international ghost hunter popped by to fucking to get rid of the ghost. And then the ghost hunter died, and it's fucking a whole thing.
That actually sounds fun.
Yeah,
I want to
like
go to this
that's
place.
in a conversation I want to have. But like this, it feels like sometimes it feels to me like neurotypical people just like they have a very surface level existence, and or
See,
just like really
and
dig
that's
deep.
where I always like argue is where I'm like I don't like to describe it as either being like surface level or this or that, just because it kind of implies like a value judgment that I'm just not a fan of personally. Like I used to place a lot of value judgments on I guess what regular people thought of things or cared about and stuff like that, and then I just started realizing, oh, okay, this is all useless, including the things I say.
Yeah, yeah.
So I try not to place too much value judgment on, I guess, what neurotypicals say.
No, I don't. I don't judge. Like if they this makes them happy, fucking let them be happy. I'm
Yeah,
all for
absolutely.
people being happy. I just don't want to have to talk to them.
No, yeah, I mean, I understand that much. It can be difficult. Burb,
Yeah,
what you had said that you wanted to bring up something specific, and you're not bringing it up. What was it?
I think I already gave my analogy.
That was it. That's all you came here for. You brought one analogy to the table.
I might have more.
No, I remember watching. Hold on, Moss is saying. I remember watching adults around me about talking about stuff like this when I was younger. I wondered if I have to start talking like that when I'm older too, and I was dreading it. No, I remember what we wanted to talk about. Burb, I had previously mentioned is that we wanted to talk about Burger's experiences and how they've maybe started relating to this concept that we've been discussing about this spectrum, and why it is that you even brought it back up in your video. Like, why did you talk about it again after months of me having had discussed it with you? What made it come up again? And
Oh, it's
also, how, you said that it was kind of like living in your head for a bit, these ideas,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm curious to what you meant by that.
Well, you told me about this, and I was like, "Oh, this makes a lot of sense." And it's like it's one of those ideas that when you like get a thought, like someone gives you a thought, an idea, or you find it on your own, and it's like a missing piece in a puzzle where you didn't know there was a gap.
Yes.
That's kind of what that thought was. Like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And then I would, you start seeing things in the world, and it's like, oh, this actually fits very much into this. Which, of course, is in and of itself a bit of an issue because, of course, we humans are pattern-seeking creatures, and then you see patterns where there are none. So this is when you start making your video essay channel. Yeah, it's but it actually it made a lot of sense to me to think about that
Well,
and to see it as like a holistic phenomenon.
I'm curious for you to tell us maybe some, because I'm guessing when you started seeing some of this or connecting it to some of your own experiences, at some point or another, maybe you started thinking, "Oh, that kind of explains this situation or that situation in my life, or certain events that occurred the way they did." Would you mind sharing any of those if anything like that did pop up?
I mean, that isn't necessarily related to this concept specifically, but to that way of thinking. The non-concretized information thing actually really did. Like, I did continue thinking about how, like, non-concrete I process
Yeah,
information.
that's what I mean. I
And how
kind of
that's
want to
always
know more
I've
about
always
that.
felt that was like a huge. I mean, it is a problem because like you can't get good grades on tests if you can't remember hyper-concretized information because
Mhm.
that's all tests are. But I was always able to like how when there's a test and you have like an essay writing portion, I would always score very well there because I could like conceptualize. Um, but yeah, I run this game system that I really like.
Mhm.
It's called City of Mist,
Mhm.
and I've run it a lot. I'm like a full mega expert on this system, but I still don't know any of the individual rules. And every time that like a player is doing one of those things, I have to look it up on a thing.
Oh, I know what
So
you're
I know
talking
what's
about. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like I DM'd too, like D&D and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it would I would have an easy time world building but I have a horrible time remembering the minutia of all the rules, and I would always have to have like notes or books near me, just in
Yeah.
case we came across a certain problem. And I hated it because it would kind of stop the narrative for a second because you
I
had to
have
like.
this.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I have this with the fucking. You know when you come up with an NPC on the fly,
Hmm.
but you will not remember. Like you have like cool ideas pop into your head about him,
Yeah.
and then you put them in the thing, and your players like them, but you like as your players like, oh, that's so cool. You've already forgotten what you just said.
Oh yeah, no,
This is
that's
why I
that's
make
happened
players
many
give
times.
me. Yeah, this is why I make players give me their notes.
It's actually really useful for building up certain stuff,
Yeah.
but unless you get players that are new and they don't write notes, or you get players that don't write any notes, and then it's not quite as easy.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have like several people. Like one of my players is basically just a stenographer. Like she writes everything down all the time,
That's actually
and
useful. Takes
a lot
minutes.
of the a lot of the games that I run are one shots. So then it's not as big a deal. Like I
Oh,
can
okay.
remember some.
Continuity can be difficult. That stuff.
Yeah. Like I
Uh,
can like when we're doing when we're like in the session, I can keep it in my head. I'll just make some sort of note if anything, but it'll be around. Although with cooking that becomes a different thing. Because I love cooking, but you know how you like you forget things while you're remembering them.
yeah, I do that all the time.
I fucking hate it. Like
Oh yeah.
today, I was making shrimp fra diavolo, and I'm like, oh, I'll need to put some baking soda into this,
Mhm.
and then I don't do it.
Yep. Yeah,
Like
that's pretty common.
this is now the step where I need to put in the baking soda. Anyway, here's the zucchini paste.
Actually, that brings up another very important point. And Burb, I have to go check on baby really quick, but I'm gonna give you something to jump off of. Okay.
Sure.
Can you discuss the concept and the ideas in relation to the spectrum stuff and working memory so that Burger can, because Burger has, I don't think we've ever brought up the issues regarding working memory and these ideas. So could you do that
Sure.
I
while
don't think we've discussed that. No.
so could you do that while I step away for a second to handle
Yeah, sure.
baby stuff,
Sure, I can
dad
do that.
stuff? All right.
Okay, he's going. All right, so working memory. Working memory is it's a word for your cognitive sketch pad,
Yeah.
right? So it's related to like areas of the prefrontal cortex, like the DLPFC. It's like how many facts you can nest at a time.
Yeah. No, I know what working
Yeah,
memory is, but it's good
yeah,
that you're explaining it for the audience.
yeah. So the idea is that working memory can be selective, um, because the frontal cortex is negotiating between all these other systems to have executive functioning, right? It's like which of these
Yeah.
underlying systems am I going to act on? Um, and so it seems like for autistic people and for schizophrenia people, schizophrenia spectrum people, they have different kinds of working memory. So you can have working memory for details, or you can have working memory for meta facts, I
Yeah.
guess. So here's another analogy. Actually, before I go into the next analogy, I'll just talk about what he was referencing. Forgetting what you're doing as you're doing it is likely a result of your working memory sort of closing in. It's like, so you have information 1 minute, right? And then your working memory closes in, something else pops into that space and knocks the other thing out. And then you're doing the other thing. It's like, what happened, right? Um,
Yeah.
so there's working memory is also an inverted U. So like when you're sleeping, you don't have very much working memory at all, right? Your consciousness is almost a single point in your dream, right? It's
Yeah.
sort of contextually devoid, right? It's like you're kind of aware, but not really. And then as you start to wake up, then your working memory expands and you nest more and more information. You reach a state of peak consciousness, I suppose. But then as you get stressed or anxious or angry, or as your adrenaline and your cortisol starts pumping, then it starts to narrow again. So it's almost like being angry puts you in a dream state almost.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's probably why he was thinking about that in terms of. Anyway, so for autism spectrum and schizophrenia spectrum, there's usually some pretty significant stressors involved, right? So for autism, sensory disturbances and unreasonable expectations from an environment. Like you got this really specialized brain and they're expecting you to do all these generalized tasks and you're getting overwhelmed. You're focusing in on one painting, your eye gaze is going into these specific parts. Now, here's another painting, and you're trying to process all the information and you just can't because you see 10 things while somebody else sees one thing, right? So that's a stressor. And as we know, since working memory is an inverted U, the stressor shrinks in their working memory. So they're trying to process more information across the same image, and they're being stressed out so they can process even less information, and then you can see how they can become disabled by that. If that makes sense?
Yeah, I get like the opposite of this, where like which is to say I'm always very stressed.
Yeah.
But it's like the more stressed I am, the less I like remember. Like I'm much more likely to make that kind of mistake when cooking when it's like I'm like stressed the fuck out.
That makes
And
sense.
that
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, interesting thing because you brought up dreaming. The more I have like improved as a writer and a storyteller, the more my dreams have become story-like. Like how dreams usually don't have like a structure, a story, thematic structure, a story
Right.
structure.
Yeah.
A lot of my dreams do, because my brain is so like hardwired to go these meta concepts of how a story would be structured. They're like I sleep my way through stories. Like I sleepwalk storytelling at this point.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, but it's like that's like a big meta. It's a meta concept.
Yeah. So like what? So what? I mean, think about what is a story, right? Because a story is, it's really it's a psychology of characters acting in relationship to each other.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a story about how people behave, but it's abstracted out of an individual context in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see this. That's like the big problem. I like the process of coming up with the meta framework for the story and like the potential. But then I sometimes struggle with the concrete product. I
filling
like
in
the
the details.
concrete product.
Filling in the details is a hard
I
thing.
actually see. I like filling in the details, but I have to be like in the mood for it. I can't be like it. I can't just do it casually. I like detailed descriptions in my world building because I have a very vivid imagination. But I need to write them down because I will forget if I don't keep it.
I'm back.
And I also like the just agglomerations of random stuff with little thematic link. I like a sense of verisimilitude. So that's what I use the concretized information for in the fiction, is to create on like a meta level a feeling of verisimilitude, because the real world isn't like strictly categorized. It's very meta and it's very chaotic and things bleed into each other. And I try to use concretization to achieve this effect in my writing.
Okay, so here's an example of my, I guess, story writing process, and see if you can relate to this, right? So I will sort of dance across potentials, right? Like there'll be characters with personalities that I can kind of touch or conceptualize, and they're on a path that I can kind of touch or conceptualize. And then I'll sort of sink down more into the details, and then the story will be coming together. But then something that happens is that the details start to override the rest of what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'll go down from a character in a setting to trying to figure out how they get their water, and what exactly they eat, and what exactly their food tastes like, and what it smells like, and what the animals look like, and the exact procedures about how they farm, and then the exact timing of their calendar, and the structure of their language. And the problem is that the world is so overwhelmingly complex that if you focus in on any of these details, it's like you never get out. Each of them is an endless spiral into complexity, and you sort of lose the story because you concretize out of it, right? There was because when normatives are reading a story, they're looking to sort of be abstracted out of their everyday lives into problems that are domain non-specific, right? It's like the problems in human behavior that pop up in engineers and in psychologists and in people who work with animals and in people who work on computers and people who fly planes and people who fight gladiatorial games, right? What are the problems that persist across all those domains, right? That's what people are looking for in stories. But if you are concretized down to the details, it's hard. So autistic storytelling can be overly complex and also seemingly pointless at times.
Yeah. I see. I like the pointlessness of all that, but I really, I think Brandon Sanderson calls this world builder's disease. I like some I try to do is I like to give the impression of there being a lot of world building behind it, when literally the only concrete facts that I've come up with are the ones you see on the page.
Yeah.
And then they're like connected in like an abstract way to
That's
other
relatable.
things that exist in potential
That's
for
highly
this.
relatable.
Yeah.
I'm back. You guys won't believe what just happened.
What just happened?
Okay, so
your baby pulled a gun on you and shot you in the dick.
Shot me right in the dick. No, I went over there. Baby had, because I have baby on camera, right? Because it's her nap time right now. She takes a nap around this time, so I put her down for a nap, gave her the milk, all that kind of stuff. So I have her on my camera, and I see on the camera that she's just hopping around the bed, right? And I'm like, okay, well, she's not going to sleep. I better go check on her. She's been in there for like, 30, 40 minutes and not sleeping. So I go in. She's taken off her diaper, and she shit the bed.
Nice.
Was she listening to the stream? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I went over there, and there was just a turd on her bed. And I'm like, you took off your diaper, and then you went poop? And she's like, and at the moment I walk in, she looks at me with a kind of somber look of, uh-oh, I think I messed up. And she said, oh, big stinky. Looks at me with her beautiful eyes and says, big stinky, oof, oof, stinky. And I'm like, usually when she does that, it's because she pooped in her diaper.
Yeah.
But I look, and she has no diaper on, and I'm like, oh, no. And it was just a big poop sitting there. And I had to clean that up. So that's why I was gone.
Is that why your Discord tag is, what, everything is poop? Is that your tag?
No. The reason my Discord tag is everything is poop because it's what was it? Everything is poop, and there's a second sentence or phrase to that, and it's in the description. I forgot what it was. It was everything is poop, and oh yeah, it says I'm pooping furiously, and everything is poop.
I see.
So everything I poop is my poop is everything, and everything is poop.
Are you abstracting?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
It's all poop.
I want to leapfrog over what we were just talking about while you were gone.
Yeah, go for it.
We were talking about meta psychology and narratives.
Oh, okay.
And so there's an analogy that we talked about, the silly monkey analogy, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love the silly monkey analogy.
And what I noticed is that Bergerkrieg seems to be an organizer of events.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be running all of these
ban
events.
someone from my Discord server. I'll be back in a sec. I'm still here. I'm
I don't
listening
care.
to you.
Do whatever you're gonna do.
But he's trying to sell Discord Nitro.
Hilarious. You got a bot.
Hang on, this is this guy. How do I? Come on, dude.
You right click, ban.
Ban.
How much poop? I know this stream is full of poop, Moss.
Don't delete any. Ban. I wonder if Discord had. You know how when you ban someone, there's like the Thor with the hammer jumping thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Discord has the copyright for that.
You probably don't.
Yeah, we should like rat on them.
Yes, I'm sure that would be very good for the platform that I use constantly to help people.
Yeah.
Just rat
anyway,
on them.
I'm still okay. We were talking about something important though.
Yeah, no, I'll go back to it.
Well, nothing's important, but continue.
Yeah, nothing's important. Everything and nothing.
Exactly.
So I noticed that Bergerkrieg seems
Just
to
say
be
burger.
like
just say burger.
Okay,
You're fucking
Burger
having
King
trouble
seems
with
to yeah, okay, I am in trouble. Seems to be an organizer of events.
Okay.
Right, you're running all these events, and you have a YouTube channel, and you have a Discord server, and you're banning somebody right now. So it seems like you're engaging in a psychological mechanism of a broad perspective of human behavior, of humans functioning in systems, right? And that kind of right. So the monkey analogy we sort of use is that there's certain people who are predisposed to wanting to work with objects, very specific objects, and optimize those very specific objects. And then there's people who are predisposed to want to use those objects on things. And then there are people who like to sit up in trees and watch how people use objects on things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so then those people tell stories because they're the ones who are noticing the way that people use objects on things across general domains.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, that's that's kind of what I'm trying to. I feel like I very often feel like an observer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is because at the same time I still have the desire to lead an interesting life, but a big part of my I want to also like use those objects to do things with them, but I also want to like see a lot of interesting shit. That's like my main. And ironically, actually, this would be an amount of concretized information that I can then slot into a framework of abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of take that shit. But this is what I feel like when I write. I feel like I am this sort of entity that looks into this other world and watches people do things.
Right.
Do you feel like that about the actual world?
Yeah, I sometimes I do.
That's how I feel
yeah,
all the time.
I do. Yeah, actually, I do pretty often. It's like I am definitely an actor, but it sometimes feels like I wasn't meant to be. Not in the sense that I'm not good at it, because I apparently am, but I don't even want to disappear into being an observer. I like the attention, and I like fucking being regarded as someone who is, whatever the fuck it is that I am. But I also like the idea of just being a ghost who watches things every once in a while. Like I'm more of a voyeur than an exhibitionist, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Mr. Ogno says no, they're a YouTuber. They're like obsessed with trying to figure out who the hell it is that I have on my stream. No, it's another YouTuber. Check out their channel, Bergerkrieg. They cover all sorts of subjects, and there's someone that considers themselves to be on this sort of spectrum sort of thinking, so that's why we're discussing it a little bit further. And I actually wanted to know a little bit more too about your experiences. You said you had gone to various psychiatrists to try to, or psychologists to get like diagnoses for this or that, and they kept giving you different things. They kept giving you different answers. What are we talking as far as like the length of time between these various diagnoses that you were getting? And it was your like position in life all that different each time you went?
So this was during like 2020 and 2021. I ended therapy in 2019. And so if you get Germany, because of the way that the health system works, when you have therapy for a certain amount of time, then you can't have therapy again for 2 years unless you like try to fucking kill yourself or some shit, But you can try and get diagnosed with shit.
But you can't get therapy, but you can get diagnosed.
Well, if they then diagnose you and they say, "Oh, this is so bad, he needs therapy," then they can be. It is on like a case by case basis.
Okay.
But just generalized psychotherapy is something you can only do for a certain amount of time, and then you need to take a break for 2 years.
So if you have a personality disorder that's causes you to be lower functioning in some capacity, they'll extend that or give you more time.
Well, therapy here is completely goal oriented. There's very few people that are like permanently in therapy. There's not enough like fucking therapists, obviously, as is everywhere. And if you're rich, you can get therapy. There's a whole problem with the laws around how therapy is done, and fucking the conservatives, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? This was in the span of like 2 years during the pandemic. So in like a time where I was always being pushed to the limits of my normal functioning.
Okay.
Um,
Could you explain what
yeah.
that means? Like, what do you mean you're normal?
Well, there's like the global pandemic going on. Like
Yeah.
I'm like complete. Oh, actually, oh yeah, I might have to. In this context, I was like, obviously, you should know what this means. I couldn't talk to people for 2 years, and that was bothersome because I really like talking to people.
Oh, okay. And
Um,
what is it about talking to people that you like?
Um, that's a good question. I just like touching their minds, I think, and like sharing and like giving them some of mine, and just having a good time. Just going out, having a pint of lager at the pub. Fucking just yeah. I'm a social person. I'm a big extrovert.
No, it's interesting because the reason I bring it up is because like I started thinking about people that are on this sort of schizophrenic spectrum type stuff, and the type of thinking they do isn't exclusively intro or extroverted, right? There's plenty of people like I oddly, I mean, I guess in some regards I'm extroverted myself in that I'm obviously on here and I have a stream and I like conversation and I like having conversations with people about a variety of topics. I also am motivated to seek out more conversations. But the reasons that I'm motivated to do so and the reasons I like conversations, I guess, would be considered less traditionally social. So because of that reason, I would still be considered in the broader context as being an introverted person, right? Which is kind of odd to me. Like some of those terms, like intro and extrovert, just seem kind of somewhat useless at times. I mean, what do you think, Barbie? I mean, would you say like it's kind of the
Yeah,
context
sure.
just makes it? Yeah, sure.
No, the problem with words like introverted and extrovert is that they are mega abstract
Yes.
and they don't really tell you anything about what's actually going on, right? So you look at a person and you see that um, they are appearing to tire in social situations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is that itself a trait? Or is there something about the person which you should explore, or something about the environment that you should explore, or something about both that you could explore? If you took that person and put them in another environment, would they still be extroverted? And if the answer
Exactly.
is no, was the extroversion ever a trait, or was it something else that you just don't have words for yet?
Yeah.
Right?
So, like for example, on the server, you have people that outside of the context of the server would be considered very introverted and withdrawn, and then all of a sudden they're surrounded by people that they can connect to some degree or relate to at least, and they suddenly start displaying signs of extroversion.
I think actually I have a hypothesis as to what this thing might be. The more you have to mask, the more like energy you need to put into socializing. So when I don't have to mask at all, like when I'm alone, for instance, I don't have to mask to
Right.
pretend to be like a
Are you
normal
masking now?
person. A bit because I'm like on a live stream. I think I'm always masking a little bit when I'm talking to people. But I mask like very little. Like
What?
this is just the only thing that I'm not doing is just saying random shit that pops into my head.
Well, you could
Well,
be.
I'm okay. I'm not saying like half the random shit that pops
Well,
into my head.
I would prefer you said all of it.
Say all of it.
Yeah, say
No,
all of it
it's
all the
just
time.
because it's not. It's like it's not conductive to. I would be like busting into this and going like penis, penis, penis,
That's
penis,
Do
fine.
it.
penis.
That's fine.
That's
I have no
fine.
problem with that.
It's
That's
not
good.
that we're trying to have a interesting
It's odd that you talk
conversation.
that much about. I think that much about penis, but I mean,
Well,
whatever.
I have one. It's like 50% of my body. I don't have legs. I just have penis.
All right,
I
I
like
want to
a.
address your point about masking because I mean I think it's correct, but then the question is, what is masking? What is masking? What's your dive into that?
Yeah. What is it to you when you're masking? What are you describing? What is the action that you're
Well,
describing?
I'm trying to when I'm masking, I'm trying to like see what parts of myself best fit into the expectations of this particular social interaction.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not like I don't feel like masking is lying
I
because there's
agree.
people
I
say like, oh, if
100%
you,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you just sort of you like hone in, you like yourself is like a bit of an amorphous ball
Mm-hmm.
when it's fully relaxed, but when you're
Right.
masking, you're like straining all of that into like a shape. And you have to like look, oh, who are these people, what do they expect, what is the fucking broader social context of this interaction, how do I shape myself, and how do I shape myself in a way that's still like, I don't want to just adapt, I don't want to just be I still want to be perceived as weird even in like a very normal social interaction, you know what I mean?
Mm. Okay,
Perceived
So
as
you
so,
have
weird.
to,
so it's a gradient of selective masking,
yeah,
right? You don't want to
yeah.
mask completely, but not. Well, do you think that there's an element of shame in masking in the sense of so there's a whole of the things that you do, and then
Yeah.
there's certain things that you do in certain interactions which you might learn have a high likelihood of causing a negative reaction from the environment, and then that negative reaction from the environment might get internalized into you so that when that part of you comes up in that environment you feel bad, and so then you
Hmm.
don't say it.
Well, I'm not sure that I feel bad necessarily, but I like this line of thought actually. I mean, yeah, there's some of this is just I don't want to like scream the N word at the top of my lungs in the middle of the supermarket. It's just not.
Right. Right.
Even though like I mean I don't even do it at home but if I did like live in the middle of the forest, I totally would.
Yeah.
Just because my brain sometimes like you say it, motherfucker, say it. Um. Uh. But yeah, no, that's actually because it feels like too intimate to like the better I know people, the less I mask with them.
Hmm.
And especially when you're like around strangers, you're masked. And even if the mask that you are wearing is a mask of you, it's still like a
That
although
that
I do personally have a tendency to like move very quickly into like a because this is one of those things where I like when it creates an awkward situation because I think that people can feel when for a moment you're not masking, and so I'm gonna like not mask in a very particular way for a moment, which is in itself an act of masking.
Mm.
To be like to have a very intimate moment with a person who's like virtually a stranger.
J Or brings up a good point pertaining to this because I wanted to actually bring it up too. Masking includes stuff like code switching. So a lot of what you're describing sounds like what's often referred to as code switching, Burger. Um,
Mm.
is there a better term for the masking SCPD or puts forth? It's more of a lie, as if there were an imposter or interloper, a house built on sand. And
Among Us.
exactly. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I have in the past consciously created, manufactured masks that have little to nothing to do with me for the purposes of getting through work, certain social situations, or certain environments that I know were I to not do so, it would lead to less than desirable results.
Can
Right?
I go off of this?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
I
Go
go
on.
off? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So Bergerkrieg said something earlier that or alluded to something that I agree with, which is that um, everything that you do is you. You
Yeah.
are everything that you do, and you couldn't be anything else by definition. There are no fake parts of you, but there are smaller parts and bigger parts.
Hmm.
And the smaller the part of you that you're putting forth in exclusion, the more quote unquote fake it
Correct.
feels because the less of your emotions are
Agreed.
tied up
Agreed.
in it.
Hmm.
And so if you're filtering yourself through that smallest little tiny part, you're not feeling much of anything. And so if you've been conditioned to do that your entire life and you don't know it's what you're doing, you might say I feel nothing.
And
I feel nothing.
it expends the same amount of energy if you were using a bigger part of yourself and receiving rewards and such in those interactions.
Right. So simultaneously, it's a massive frontocortical task to look at every part of you that's coming up and go, no, not that, no, not that, no, not that. right? So it's a massive frontal cortical task, and then all that can come out is, oh, I'm doing these things, but I feel nothing. I feel nothing, but I'm doing these things because not everybody knows that this is what's happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure that for me personally, at least, like when I'm masking, is like I feel nothing, but I do get like bored. When I have mundane small talk with people, I still, to a certain extent, like I am enjoying the fact that I am connecting with another human being, but
I
it's
don't
just
think
not
I'm connecting.
intellectually
But that's the thing.
stimulating.
I'm not. In my case, I wouldn't be connecting to another human being. I would just
Yeah.
be talking.
Yeah,
And
see,
with
that's I'm not, yeah,
like, I don't
I'm
know
not a,
how is it that you define connecting? Just having a
Yeah, what is
conversation? Yeah,
connecting?
what does connecting to another human being mean to
you
you?
just well, basically, so this is I have a neighbor. He's like an old guy. He tells the same stories over and over again. They weren't interesting in the first place. But I like to listen to him because it's like we're in the same. It's sort of like an act of service. Uh, and then I pretend to find them interesting because I want him to like feel good
Yeah,
and
see,
to feel like
that's
he's not
interesting.
alone.
I can understand that. I
I
can understand that actually. Yeah,
yeah,
because
like it's not,
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. Well, I just because then it's like, oh, I think he probably knows this, but it's like it's still like the act of knowing that each of us decided to share this moment in time, interacting with each other instead of not doing that. That's like connecting with
Yeah,
that other
and
person
that's
in
no,
that
see, but
moment.
that's what's interesting is I think somebody else had I think when I talked to Amy on that interview thing, she had mentioned something similar, which is the recontextualizing of a conversation with another human being in order to find something you can connect with, even though there's nothing in the conversation itself that is necessarily connecting you to that person.
Yeah,
And it's interesting because like I went through a similar time when I was a bit younger. I volunteered at a retirement home to spend time with a lot of the old folks there, right? Because I knew a lot of them didn't have family that was actually coming to see them. So I was curious about how they lived. I was curious about what they were experiencing, and I also wanted to sort of, I guess, mitigate some of the suffering they might be enduring in regards to the loneliness, which is kind of hilarious considering how lonely I was. So maybe I was actually just seeking some kind of cope for that. But so what I did was I went there, and it ended up not going the best over time because all I wanted to do was spend time with them and talk to them, right? And let them tell me
yeah,
their stories, kind of like you're describing. And after a while, they were seeing me do that, and they started actually telling me that I couldn't do that. They started telling me that I couldn't go around the retirement home listening to their stories and just speaking to them about whatever they wanted. They said that if I was going to volunteer, I had to do activities with them, right?
What?
So they were telling me that I had to do specific activities. It's like, oh, these are the activities that happen at this time. You can volunteer to help with those activities, or you could volunteer with this, or you can volunteer with that, and those specific activities that were on the schedule for them, right?
See, those
yeah.
specific activities sound incredibly boring to me.
Yes, they were
Like
very
I want to
boring.
know about their lives.
Well, I see, and what's interesting is I wasn't all that interested about their lives on a personal level. I just enjoyed kind of like what Berger was saying is giving them something, and then some of the stuff in their stories were interesting when they weren't talking about like the really interpersonal parts of their lives. I didn't find that interesting, but when they were telling me more about some war stories or like interesting parts of World War II or the Korean War that they were involved with, the stuff like that was really fun. But they were getting obviously something different out of it. They were getting companionship, and a lot of these people were maybe like on the cusp of death. We're talking like five. They got another 5 or 6 years in them probably. And and so eventually they basically told me that I couldn't do that any longer. So I had to quit volunteering there because I didn't want to just help them with exercises or help with this stupid shit or that stupid shit. I just wanted to spend time with them. So because
Yeah.
and the reason I was doing that was very abstract. It was kind of like what you're describing, which is like this sort of people should not have to die alone idea, or people should not have to spend their last years wasting away. They should have some kind of companionship of some sort.
I want to look into that definition of like connecting with people because I think I find it interesting because it doesn't necessarily have to do with anything specific about what people do. It's like, so I'm a human and you're a human. We're two humans here together. Isn't that interesting? But what's a human? Well, that's just being a thing that perceives and does stuff.
Yes.
Let's relate to each other about how we're things that do things with things.
Yeah, I mean, and it's very not concrete in any capacity, or equidistant in any capacity, and that's what's really funny is that you have to find. So when you define when you define connecting with people, that definition may be completely different than how the average person or the equidistant individual defines connection.
Like, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat or I'm this religion or that religion or I'm in this business or that business or I have these ideals or those ideals.
Having
I'm
having
a man, I'm a
overlap is the
woman.
thing that matters to
Yeah.
them. Yeah. Actually, but something someone in chat said this in relation to your working in a retirement home thing. That like probably the reason that you probably know this the reason you were told not to do this is because whoever was running it was like, yeah, but this is a business and we're trying to resource allocate ideally, and with these activities we can keep several old people just sort of
Meandering
entertained
about. Yeah.
at one time, and if you just are there talking to them, that's you just connecting to one of them, and we need them to like be pacified for an extended period. So the
Yeah.
Yeah, but
humanity
they could
aspect
do
of it,
that.
we
They
don't
could do
care
that.
about it.
Yeah, they could do that. I wasn't there for
Yeah.
that, you know? And I don't understand why me showing up out of blue and offering something with no compensation whatsoever, that might be helping not all of them, but the select ones that are willing to discuss
This is what
things.
happens when fucking business administrators run human services the way humans have human connections. Because like in their mind, then even though I'm not paying anything, he's not contributing what I want. So this is like a factor that falls outside of the strict business equation.
Mhm.
So it's overhead and it needs to go.
How it's overhead makes no sense.
Yeah,
But
it's not overhead because it's overhead not because it like actually costs anything, but because it doesn't like make money. Like it just doesn't fit into the equation, and there's no like room for ambiguity or
yeah,
diversity in approaches.
yeah,
And like it's not part of the business plan. You better fucking volunteer the exact way I want you to, or fuck off.
yeah. And what was funny is that they even tried to tell me like, oh well, if we use because if you don't do it this way, we can't give you any credits if you want to use them for like college stuff or other things, right? And I'm like, I don't care. Like I told them, I don't care. I don't need that shit. I told them, I don't.
Wait,
care
hold on.
about that.
Were they thinking that you were doing it just for the status thing, like for
Yeah, I
the check
guess.
mark on the thing? That
That's
must be why
so
people are doing
weird.
it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's why they thought I was doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
because
because
everybody else is doing it like that. That's why
Yeah.
they're doing it.
yeah. But I was there just because of some personal reasons. I literally the way I ended up there is I would walk past this retirement home all the time on my way to work because I would take the bus. And one day I decided I'm gonna go in there and see what I can do that may be helpful because I was thinking about mortality a lot and death. And I was like, these people are dying. They're closer. And I want to see what they're experiencing and I want to see if I can help some of that
You
in my
wanted to
own way.
investigate death as an abstract concept through the instantiations of these people,
And to help reduce their suffering if at all possible. Because I correlated this idea of impending doom to death, right? So, and I thought, maybe I could both witness this impending doom, but also help them with it, with some of the fear that might come with it in some degree. And
This
so,
is a this is the thing with the NTs where they do things because they're this is what I mean when I say they live a surface level experience.
Yeah.
It seems to me like a lot of NTs, most of the stuff that they do it because they think they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And like that is something that that has like there's a lot of like I think as as a lot of ATs like get older, they accumulate experiences. Maybe some of them go to therapy. They read a self-help book, and this self-help book is like, oh, you know you can actually do things because you want to do them. Like that's basically the entirety of the self-help book, and this is this cosmic revelation to them, and it massively improves their quality of life because
Yeah,
like
a book like The
I
Secret.
can. Yeah, I can do things because of me wanting to do them, and I've always been like, what other reason is there to do anything? Like literally, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think what's going on there is you talk about there's pathology, there's neurotypical pathology and neuroatypical pathology. Neurotypical pathology is the result of living up through an environment which is designed around your cognitive needs. So the path that's laid out for you just kind of works. And always because it kind of works, you never question it.
Yeah.
Right? It just takes you down the river. Whereas if you're outside of
That's
that
why
river,
when they don't start questioning, they usually start questioning it once they hit like their mid-30s. That's what they call a midlife crisis, or their golden years.
We don't have midlife crisis. We have early life crisis, right?
We have birth life crisis.
Yeah.
I've been in crisis for a while. Actually, I fucking ended my like quarter life crisis and like really grew into who I am and who I want to be and was like, damn, I'm like fucking ready to tackle life now. And it's like the next 2 years you will be sitting in your apartment alone and unable to speak to people.
Yeah.
What was going through your head while you were alone and unable to speak to people?
Well, mostly like the N-word.
Just the N-word?
It's honestly fucked up how big of a space it occupies in my head, and it's exclusively because of how transgressive it is. I used to like when I was like I grew. It's not like it's still a thing in Germany, but it's not the kind of just fucking the gay ass of fucking a magic spell that it is in the United States. So I used to like it used to just be a word that I didn't say. But ever since learning that it's such an incredibly transgressive act to even conceive of the word, it's just been in my head, like living rent free even more than the whole schizo autism spectrum idea.
Oh my god, what a fucking waste of space.
But it's funny, like that's that mostly was I had a lot of trouble just conceptualizing of the fact that the whole pandemic wasn't engineered just to fuck up my life. Because it felt that way.
Wait. So you part of you believed that the pandemic was engineered by somebody in the world just to fuck
but some part of me believes that there is some kind of, I don't know, God or something, that the whole purpose of that thing is to steer my life in a direction and like control all the aspects of my life that I have no control over, which is most of them, in a way that keeps my life dissatisfying, but
it's
not
like a
horrible.
Shimigami or something, just hanging out like a single.
Yeah, but like not a like
Shimigami.
Not malicious in like I have to completely destroy this person, but malicious in like I have to like make it so the life that they lead is annoying. And like at the end of it, like they never had come to like a point of like, yeah, fuck this. And, like,
I know.
blow their
I
heads
think
out.
I have similar feelings about my own life.
But then I'm like at the end of my life, and I'm like, well, that was fucking
nothing. That was a big ball of nothing.
I think it's fair to say that a very autistic person would probably never think that.
Yeah. I mean, but why though?
Well, because like what are you really doing there? Like, so you're looking at the world, the whole world.
Yeah.
And you're putting a subjective categorical label on that.
Yeah.
And
But
then
just to
Yeah.
be like clear on this, I
Yeah.
know like intellectually that this isn't true.
Well,
But
yeah.
I all feel like this all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So there's the whole world. There's just the
Yeah.
world, which is
Yeah.
it's just the mega abstraction. And then there's I mean, whether at that point when you're abstract that much, it's kind of arbitrary, and it doesn't really matter whether you put an objective label on it or a subjective label, or like you know what I mean. Like you're already so blasted out of anything concrete that whether you call it a god or it's just a mechanical object,
It's
it's
just
like
a thing.
it's arbitrary at that point, right? Because the function of that kind of cognition is not to explore details about the world scientifically. The reason we think that way is for motivation, right? So
Yeah.
traditionally you'd put a subjective title on it and it would be like a parent deity or something, and then if you do good things it's nice to you and whatever, right? And
It's
then you're
karma.
motivated karma is motivated to do nice things. But yeah, so you're taking the world, you're putting a subjective value on it, and then you're connecting that super abstract object to things that are happening in your general environment, which are annoying you. And so then your subjective projection
Well,
of
what's
the universe
interesting
is
too
just
is
annoying
that
you on purpose.
is the very things that are annoying you are in that realms oftentimes themselves. Right.
Like
So
today, when I forgot to put in the baking soda into the shrimp fra diavolo, was that entity taking that thought out of my head.
Yeah. But here's the thing, because I mean, technically, it's true. The world is doing that to you because you are your world. So it is technically true. It's just not very useful.
No, it's not.
It's also like it is actually. I am a unlucky person though. This is I don't know. Like some of my closest friends are like this. How the fuck does this keep happening to you? This like in terms of the totality of the things that happen to me. They're like, well, how did this is so unlikely? Like, why the fuck?
Well, give us an example of a very unlikely thing that happened to you that people would have said, "Oh, that's just sheer bad luck." Why does that happen to you?
Well, there's actually two that come to mind, but I'm gonna go with the one that makes me sound like less of a whiny bitch. I'm cursed by the Omnissiah. I'm kind of cursed by the Omnissiah. Like every time I interact with technology. Whatever it is I'm doing, I need at least twice the amount of time that a normal person would to do it. It's like I always have like some very specific bug that only 5 people have, and I have it with every piece of software that I use. And it's always at the least opportune times. And it's always the least likely things that happen. And then when I've resolved this bug, there's another different bug that has this completely unrelated to the first one. It just also happens to materialize at this exact time. Like this, I found out at some point that for most people, they use technology, and most of the time, it works fine. That was a mind-bending revelation to me.
I'm trying to think of instance. I've had obviously instances in which that's occurred, but probably not to the consistent degree that you're describing. So I mean,
honestly, it's so
just happenstance at that point, Amber. Just coincidence.
I have a question. The next logical question would be: so if you link the annoyances, do you also link the good things that happen, or is it just not linked to those? It's only linked to the annoyances.
Yeah, because the good things that happen are all things that I make happen.
Oh, okay.
So they are linked through my me wanting to do them, but there's no whatever the entity is that controls the string of my life. It does not give a shit about the reason I do good things is because I want to do good things. Like I don't. That's the only. I know I will not be rewarded for them.
Okay. So when you when you do something, so when something nice happens, right, that you like, you did that. That's you did that.
Well,
right?
Unless I know this is completely outside of my control, then it's like, yeah, this happened, and it's it's just it just happened. Like there's no connection to it, or maybe what often happens is that something nice will happen, but then I'm like, oh, this is gonna bite me in the ass later, and then it does.
Oh,
Because
wait,
It's that
the nice
disappointment.
thing happening
He's
was
describing
just
the
part of
same.
the
How many
thing.
times have I said that kind of shit, bro? It's that disappointment expectation mechanism that I fucking deal
yeah,
with
yeah, but
constantly.
this is subjectified. This is
Yeah.
good. This is interesting. Okay, so when something good happens, you think, oh, that motherfucker, he sees this and he's gonna even the score.
Yeah, or he did this and just to
Yeah.
like make me feel, just so you know how like when you feel good and then you like when you're feeling bad all the time,
Mhm.
it really doesn't make a difference if
Oh,
it's
by
like another
contrast,
minus 100.
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah,
you. He's making you feel good so that you'll feel worse
yeah,
later.
exactly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's my question. So sometimes there's this intentionality part where it's like it's your responsibility, you did it, right? And sometimes the responsibility is pawned off on the cosmic. And my question is, what decides whether it's pawned off on the cosmic or decides whether it's pawned off on you,
On
this
the
Well,
individual
responsibility?
or on
if I have a
specific
control over it.
individuals, if anything. Like when that's another interesting thing I'd like to ask pertaining to that is that if there's other individuals in your life that do something that causes the bad thing to happen, do you generally focus on the individuals that caused the bad thing, or does it just all lead back to the cosmic thing that fucks with you?
Well, if someone's dick to me, then I'm obviously gonna be pissed off at them. But also, like then it's the cosmic thing that has brought me into contact with these people, knowing that this would be
So,
the
so
like
the
the
blunt
cosmic
of
thing
responsibility goes to the universe.
doesn't really like I am responsible for the things that I do. And I think that other people are responsible for the things that they do. So I don't like if someone's a dick to me, I'm not like, oh, this is just the universe that made. No, it's like they did it. But it just so happened that the people who are dicks to me are people that the universe introduced to me. Because
wait,
it controls like
okay,
the strings of fate.
so the big boy is acting through them.
No, no,
No.
they act, and they
No.
would have
Yeah.
acted like that anyway. But just the fact that they're the people
The
in my
proximity.
life at
It's the
that time, the
proximity.
proximity, that's something that like anything that's like random and outside of my control. Like I don't fucking control that they happen to be and we meet and whatever the fuck.
I mean, you
That's just
control
something.
whether that relationship develops.
Here's a question.
Oh yeah, and yeah, that's the thing. What I do have control over is to say, yeah, well, fuck you, and that's some I do. Like that's something that is my responsibility.
Do you have control? Like, okay, so like you might realize that you have said that, right? Like, so let's say you're going along and then you go, "Oh fuck, I just said fuck you." Did you do that, or did you just
Yeah.
watch that you did that?
No, I did that.
Oh, how do you?
No,
how
I
do
am
you
in
know?
charge of my own decisions.
Oh wait, no, yeah, I think Burger believes in free will, unlike you, Burb.
Oh, so are you a free will guy?
It's kind of like a big part of this is
I'm a free will guy.
I'm constantly looking to do like growth and like self improvement and shit.
Hmm.
I like to be better than I was yesterday.
Mhm.
But one of the big aspects of this is that I feel that like whenever I get better, the difficulty level of life increases.
New game plus.
Yeah, and it's just basically it's the same. Like I am way better than I used to be, but I am still achieving the exact same things because it's just got more difficult to get the. It's like an inflation type concept.
Do you ever go into these spirals of just resignation and disappointment because of it?
I used to more than I do now.
Because like these ideas of like, oh, just resign yourself to constant disappointment because it's just incoming nonstop.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that happens to me, and it's like it's one of the main things that happen to me when I'm like actually depressed. But yeah, I try to like it these try to manifest every day, but I try to like say no, fuck you. This is not real. I know this isn't real.
I think this is something important to bring up is if you don't mind, Burb, if I could switch it up a little bit here.
Sure.
I wanted to talk a little bit about like mood regulation and what that might look like, or if that's something that Burger has trouble with when it comes to trying to regulate their mood. If those bad moods, those negative feelings, the depression, the anger, or the frustration, whatever, is associated to a type of thing that maybe their immediate social environment can't regulate for them. So what I'm asking is, are there ever times where you're depressed or down or feel like shit about something that is kind of unconventional, at least, or else to say of more of abstract nature, and then you feel as if you can't go to others in any real capacity to find some solace because you know that they're going to have trouble connecting or understanding to it in a way that it could regulate your mood?
No, because I have very good friends who are cool, but I know what you mean. No, I know that like even if they, this is the thing that we talked about earlier, like with me, my neighbor, and you with the old people. I know that even if they don't understand it, they'll like try to give me comfort about it.
No, and that brings you that can bring you some solace, but is
Yeah,
it the
yeah,
same
but
thing?
not like full solace. I fundamentally believe that people are responsible for their own emotional regulation. Um, but obviously, it's you rely on other people to help you regulate your emotions. We're human beings. What would
But
that's what we
I'm talking
do.
about like because the reason I want to bring it up is because I feel like there's in instances in which someone that is on say this kind of schizophrenic spectrum type thinking that they would have a much harder time trying to do that, trying to use others in any capacity to regulate mood on a conventional basis, and that's kind of what I'm seeing more happen on the server and sometimes even
Well,
conversations.
I want to stop right there
Yeah,
because
go
like
for it. That's
the
fine.
phrasing of use
Yeah,
others.
I
Yeah, we're
know.
kind of, and the idea that we're responsible for our own mood regulation. Well, like
Okay.
we're designed to function as a part of a community where we're communicating across a landscape of goals and threats, right? And so then that
And when you say
when
design, you're
yeah,
referring to like Evo Psych type design,
well,
not
designing as the structure of our neurology, the
Just to
structure of our
clarify. Yeah.
psychology and cognition. Um, so when we get knocked out of social context, right, that
Mm.
can be immensely damaging because your mind is trying to figure out what is the threat to be concerned about and what should we do about it? What is the good that we should pursue and how should we pursue it? And so if you don't have a community to check with, right, then you can drift further and further away from from a conceptualization of what those things might be that would actually improve your physical conditions, that you might end up in a room by yourself lying on the floor withering away, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Which can in and of itself also be like maladaptive when that community is like a cult or some shit that like goes
Oh
into
yeah.
right.
improving our material conditions
Well, that's
to
what
like
they
spread
jump
the
on.
coronavirus in foods at the sushi
Yeah.
restaurant, you know?
Or improving our material conditions by murdering ourselves so that our souls can be reincarnated into
Yeah.
the into the
Or
No,
into
and
the
that
murdering other people, like
yeah
yeah.
yeah
Well, I mean, that's one of the scary things is that when you have here's something that kind of worries me sometimes with people on, I guess, the side of the spectrum, is that when they can't seek out any kind of communication that helps them regulate some of this stuff because it's on a different layer than the people in their immediate environment, unless they're lucky enough to have someone on the same kind of spectrum in their life. And if that's the case, then cool. But most of the time, it's happenstance when that occurs because you can't exactly just go around asking and most people don't even know what's going on to begin with. But point is when those people are very vulnerable, and they are reached out to by a group that is promoting something of an abstract nature on that similar layer that brings them some kind of sense of community or
yeah.
regulation, it's a lot easier for them to get pulled in because it's like, oh, I've never experienced this, I've never seen anything like this. What is this? Oh, only this group can achieve this for me.
well,
Only
I
this.
think what's actually happening there is very competent psychopaths
Yeah.
notice that a certain subgroup get really excited about certain kinds of words and they don't even really understand why they're getting excited necessarily, but they realize that by saying these kind of words they can get attention and they can get these people
and
to
that
follow them
and that
around.
and that's
Yeah,
often the person at the top. I would agree with you, the case, but the people at the bottom, or the people following this
yeah,
person and then having others join them that are like more susceptible to this stuff are not being malicious.
Certainly.
They're actually trying to bring them into this like abstract love with
The
them.
fold. Yeah, the fold.
That is being led by a figure that is oftentimes psychopathic or malicious. But and then in the case, as we've discussed before, there are times in which those leaders are not malicious at all. In fact, they might just be like the grandiose schizotype type, like we were discussing, the Heaven's Gate sort of leader.
Oh yeah,
which
the ones who actually will end up killing themselves as well.
Yeah,
but
because they believe
in those cases, I think often the lieutenants are psychopaths because they then they get to control this powerful figure. Fucking what's it called? Osho. Rajneeshpuram, the Rajneeshis, who had the commune in, I think it was fucking Oregon.
Yeah.
This was like in the 70s, 80s, 90s type area in time. Where the guy actually himself, he seemed to be pretty like just out there and like a leadership figure, but there was a lot of like hardcore politicking and like fucking social manipulation going on among like the ranks of the top lieutenants.
Yeah.
Because he was like a resource that they could use to pull in people who were looking for that sense of community. And then within that sense of community, you will have people who will do horrible things in order to, even though they're not actually horrible people, that it becomes in their mind justified to like preserve the community. You can do bad things. You should do bad things because the preservation of the community is paramount.
Yeah. Well, I think the point here is that there's a distinction between the level of abstraction or the vagueness of the thoughts and the level of knocked out of social context and the level of harm that comes of it. So like, there's this classic thing in existential philosophy where two people look at each other and there's a glint in their eyes like, oh, I know. And it's like, yeah, I know too. And it's the moment of like, yeah, you're it. And like, I'm it. Right. And you're at that level of thought. It's not that useful, but it's fun where you're relating again to the other person as a doer of stuff. Rather than a
sentient being of sorts.
Yeah, and you both look at each other, and then there's that moment of connection, which doesn't require any common interests whatsoever, because it's so abstract and broad that it applies to everyone and no one simultaneously. Right? Now, there's people who are predisposed to being like that, and if you stress them out enough, and their working memory shrinks, and it becomes really difficult for them to nest complicated systems, right? When I say complicated systems, I don't mean concretized systems. That's the thing we have to get right here, is that the amount of information that you're computing is in some way separate from how detailed that information is, right? So you can have your, back to the picture analogy, you can have your autistic person focusing on one picture, and then their working memory can expand to fit more of that nested domain.
All the details, every pigment, every
and then at the same time, you can zoom out, and you could have more information for more genres of art, right?
Yeah.
So how
and then the questioning or
the
meta questioning of art categorization to begin with, and things like that.
So then if we go back to the talking about perceiving across domains of human behavior and groups and politics and deities and gods and across all these different domains, when you restrict the working memory, right, it becomes really difficult for that person to compare their thoughts to the norm, right? So like they might have a weird thought, you might have a weird thought, and then you think, well, the vast majority of people don't think this. I wonder why, right? Well, that's your working memory is expanding to include more perspectives in a network, right? But if you can't do that, the thought is all there is, right? And then, well, somebody might be interacting with you that you can barely perceive, and then
that's
they can
when
be placing stuff, into that system, and you don't even notice.
And that's when the functioning becomes the question. When somebody is low to high functioning, it probably has more to do with that working memory expansion and lack thereof than anything else.
Right. And that's what's sort of been supported by the research into schizophrenia spectrum, at least the lowest of functioning end, is that their working memory is severely impaired.
Shit.
Yeah. Like like they give them tests to see how many letters or numbers they can remember, and they can barely perform those tasks, right? Metaphors, which are working memory tasks. The example I always use is with a rolling stone gathers moss. Gathers no moss. To understand that, you have to be able to nest stone, rolling, not having moss, having moss. You need to be able to nest person, moving from place to place,
All
domain,
all the
domain,
symbolic
not
nature of a bunch
not
of
not
stuff.
not picking up people, and then not interacting with people long enough to get into a relationship to have anything of value. You need to be able to nest all of that information at the same time, and then to be the link between those things is arbitrary and cultural. So you also have to remember hearing that before in the context, linking all those things together. And if your working memory is shot, you'll just never be able to do that, right? And so then that's what they see when they test the schizophrenics or the severely schizophrenic people, is that they don't get these metaphors. And so there is anyway, yeah. So
Yeah, you went off. You went off. I
sorry.
know. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I enjoy it. Hinsog, thank you. $25 sending goodwill out into the hyper intellectualization ether. I appreciate that, Hinsog. But yeah. So there are neurological mechanisms that would actually be able to define or help us understand the specific mechanisms that are in place for why a lot of these things that get muddled up within the terms like personality disorder cause a muddying of the waters that just makes it so perceivably untreatable to so many people.
We just got an interesting comment from Jayor.
Go ahead.
There's actually a symptom of depersonalization of thinking existential thoughts I've seen. Well, in this conceptualization of depersonalization is losing the associative emotional value of your individual self in relation to your environment, because you're being zoomed out and processing all of the individuals which are like you in similar environments as a group, as a category. And it's like, well, how can I possibly justify relating to myself when myself is just a speck in this sea of others, right? And so then that is it. So depersonalization entails an existential thought. It's a synonym.
Yeah,
It's not a of, it is.
they're the very same thing.
Yeah, I don't really depersonalize all that much.
But do you well, I mean, how are you with your feelings as far as when something bad happens to Berger? Does Berger feel the bad feelings, or do the feelings get stunted?
I'm not a Zoid.
Yeah.
No,
I was just curious. I was just curious how they interpret.
Different flavor of the same ice cream brand.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually a very emotional person. I used to not feel emotions. That was like a dissociation, but it wasn't a depersonalization. I like lived most of my teenage years as like dissociated to an extent, because it was like, oh, this is a fucked up thing that's happening just around me. Everything is fucked up.
Yeah.
Let's just not deal with any of this. Fuck this.
Oh, I want to bring something up. Is that's another thing that we've been actually me and Burb discuss, and we've been trying to kind of guide away from, is this idea that, and it's funny because I would have said that when I first met you, right? But it's actually changed significantly. Is the idea of the schizoid having a lack of an emotional world or emotional range in some kind of like intrinsic way, right? I highly disagree with that notion, especially now in comparison to when I first started this, because I was still learning, I was still trying to figure it out. Because the more I interact with people like myself, the more I discover that I am incredibly emotional, and that they are as well. It's just that the emotions are generally attached to this kind of abstract realm of thinking. The emotions.
Well, let's just jump right off that example we just gave to really ground it, right?
Go for it.
But
do it.
The experience of depersonalization is an incredibly emotional experience.
Yes.
Right, and it can have many different distinct types of emotional expression. Right, you can depersonalize from a moment of pleasurable work towards a goal to feel yourself nested in like a Hegelian dialectic of God coming to know himself, right? And the existential joy and pleasure, but you're still depersonalizing, right? But it's incredibly emotional, right? So
Yeah.
I think what's happening is that psychologists who don't understand these different shifts in perspective very well can mistake not emoting in the ways they expect for not emoting.
Or not emoting for in regards to the stimuli that is
That
expected
they're
to
producing.
have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
certain stimuli that's being produced, and that stimuli is not causing certain emotions to be expressed,
Yeah.
and so thus the conclusion is that this person has these stunted emotions. Were they to actually
empty
provide
core.
the empty core, not, but were they to provide the proper stimulation and in the proper environment, they would maybe see otherwise. They would see, certain parts of the brain lighting up in association to emotion and things of that nature. Even if it's not being outwardly expressed, and usually that lack of outward expression has a lot to do with, the other issues that come with becoming withdrawn and feeling as though those outward expressions regarding emotional attachments that don't make sense to anyone are worth even expressing to begin with, and teaching yourself those things.
This is something I see with autistic people a lot, actually. That they're very emotional. They relate to other people like deeply, but they don't talk about it. Like they don't express those things explicitly. They don't express those emotions to the people that they value explicitly. So there's this sense that they don't give a shit about other people, but that's not true. They're just not telling you about it constantly.
I mean, and there's a possibility that if they were to attempt to tell somebody, it would be in a framework that wouldn't make too much sense to the individual they're telling, or it might be considered by that person to be the incorrect form of caring about me.
As a registered autist, I can weigh in. What's generally happening is that normatives or neurotypicals like to speak over relationships just slightly, right? To affirm. And for autistic people, that doesn't really make sense. They speak under relationships, right? When they like you, they engage in activities with you that you both like. And that is liking you. And they don't question it. They don't need to think, is this real or not real? What category does this belong to? Like, here's an example. Like, my girlfriend.
Is this friend? Is this love? Is this...
Yeah, exactly. So I was dating my girlfriend, right? And so I was just engaging in the behaviors of dating. And then she asked me one day, are we in a relationship? And I had to think about it. And I was like, okay, well, there's this piece and 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 this piece. And she was really worried about it. I wasn't, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess it would belong to that category if we really construct it up. Whatever, right? And I went back to what I was doing, right? It didn't, for her, she was all worried about what is this? And that never crossed my mind. So the chances are the autistic person just likes you and you don't have to worry about it. If they're spending time with you, they like you.
They don't, and they don't have, they don't necessarily conceptualize a category of, or a tier of like. So it's I like you this much, you are now friend. I like you this much, you are now best friend.
This is actually something. This is something that I think about a lot because I'm polyamorous, and there is a lot of
big old slut.
I wish I was more of a slut. Yeah, there's a like relationships, especially have like the people like there's these strict labels, and it's like this thing and this has to be, and then this and that. And it needs to have a specific word that we call it, and then that needs to have these specific rules. And they don't realize that you can just make the rules up, and you don't need to have a word for the thing that you're doing. Like you will have a certain specific kind of relationship with a certain specific kind of person, and you don't need to be the German language and come up with a specific word for that. It could just be a relationship of some description.
Pause. I see what you mean.
I know.
Hold on. I see what you mean when you're talking about German being more autistic. I get it. I get it. The specific words for everything. Yes, because so here's from my life. I look at all these spectrums, right? And then I'm obsessed with zooming in and placing labels at every part of that spectrum. You're talking about you don't see numbers. I see numbers everywhere, right? So it's 0.1, that's a name. 0.2, that's a name. 0.3, and then zoom in further. 0.001, that's a name, right? Putting names at every part of the gradient so that it's perfectly defined, so that all the parts like pixels on a screen are perfectly defined with
that
labels.
way lies madness.
So
yeah, but our way does too, my friend.
Yeah.
Our way, there's madness on both ends. That's the difference. There's a madness that occurs if one does not get anchored back into the equidistant to some degree. If you drift off into the entirely autistic or the entirely schizo, you will fall apart on an equidistant level. Your body, your functionality, and everything else. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, because your body is equidistant, right?
Yeah,
like,
your body is equidistant.
You need to use heuristics to survive, because
Yep.
you can't be an expert in everything involving your body. You have to phone it in a little bit just to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my body is not that interesting to me. The only reason, like for example, I haven't been recently, but I enjoyed working out. And the reason I liked working out is not because, oh, I want to be healthy or I want my body look certain way. Like it for me, it's like, oh, I like stories in which people persevere and they work very hard, and there's these narratives where they have little, but then they push through all this effort and create something with themselves, and then use that to manifest their intentions of some kind into the world. And having a stronger, more physically fit / healthy body allows me to have more energy in order to manifest that which is internal into the external world at better degrees. Like that's what goes through my head for why I like working out.
More bitches.
Yeah, well, there's also that, but I'm married, so no more bitches for me.
You don't work out so that women will like you. There's no way. You're too round.
No. Thank you, but no. So I don't really work out because of a lot of reasons that people generally work out for. I work out because of like these, like what pumps me up to work out is seeing a story in which somebody goes from not doing something to doing things, and pushing through all their disappointment and discomfort and pain and accomplishing something regardless of all that. That's the kind of stuff that goes through my mind and motivates me to do anything, including that.
It's like you being in a montage scene.
Oh, I love it. I love the idea as a story.
You're role playing Rocky. You're just
honestly, in a sense, that archetype, that idea, yes, absolutely. And that's what motivates me to keep going, and to do these things, not really for the more conventional reasons. I can think of the equidistant reasons for why, and why it's obviously important, because I live longer and I'm there for the people I care about and things like that. Of course, I can think about those things, and they are valuable, and they are valuable to the people I love. But the reasons I have to think about and concentrate on that motivate me are definitely not those things as much. I have to think about them in these like kind of broader terms, like when it comes to like my kids too. Like I think about them in like this weird like sort of way of like I am their father. They look to me for safety and love. They give me in return similar, and I wish to provide it, and I wish to be that narrative that does it appropriately and does the right thing for them, and blah blah blah. And like I have to think of them as like a story, it's really odd, and that's the kind of stuff that goes through my mind when I look at relationships, and even the ones that are closest to me. But it doesn't make it any less of a thing, and that's the problem. If I were to describe that sort of connection to others, they would often perceive it as being lesser than the equidistant interpretation of connection, right? They would say, oh, that's not really caring about us. And to me, that's no, what are you talking about? I care about you deeply.
Yeah, like I mean, I always say like I care about people as instantiations of the category of conscious beings who suffer, People don't appreciate that as much as going, I like you.
Which I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But I understand why on an intellectual level, because they're just not. That's not how they experience things and think.
Well, no, it's because they have a sense of being special, and they go through their lives trying to have other people help them feel special in a network together. And I'm blasted out of any of that. I don't feel special. I don't feel like anybody.
I don't feel special either.
Right.
I feel special.
Do you feel special?
Yeah.
Do you really?
I do. Special? I genuinely do. I do actually think that I'm like special in like, well, in a way I do actually think that everyone is special in some way.
Well, I mean, unique and special is different. Unique and special are different. Like I would agree that everyone's unique.
Okay. This is, I mean, more unique, but I also think that like I'm special. Like I'm not, because I'm different. I'm like different to a large degree, but I'm not so different that I'm so far gone that I'm like just lost in my own differentness.
Yeah, I mean that's
I'm like in the Goldilocks zone of being
or is that just you being grandiose? That's the question.
I am grandiose. I'm very grandiose. I genuinely think that I'm destined for great things. And I will inevitably
I want to hear more of this. I love this.
I
love this. What are the great things? What are the great things? I'm excited now. You got me excited.
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm like I'm not going to save the world, but I do think that eventually, I'm going to sell some books.
Okay.
Books about what?
Oh, whatever the fuck it is that I wrote.
Okay. Why is writing books and putting them out special?
Well, because not a lot of people get to do that.
And
I'm not. I don't mean
not a lot of people. Not a lot of people die of radiation poisoning either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see what you mean, but it's a lot. It requires a lot less like dedicating your life to it.
You
to die of radiation poisoning. It's like one trip to Chernobyl. You can do it.
This is fun. Wait, hold on, Berber. Hold on. One thing I want to mention really quick. Really quick. Sorry, we hit the 2-hour mark. So I want to say Patreon for the burger, me, for the show. If you like the streams, you like everything else. Also, any other form, I have it all in the About Me section. If you want to support the project, support everything I'm doing, support the server, blah, 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 blah. And then the other thing was, because you say you're in this Goldilocks zone, as you described it, Berger, this is perfect opportunity for us to ask questions that may be somewhere in between that maybe you can interpret. Because like you seem to have some NT sounding concerns about certain things. So I'm curious as to what your actual answers, and if they're actually what would be considered NT answers, or if it's just neurodivergent answers that you've kind of constructed in order to believe that they're NT answers.
Oh, Jesus.
But anyway, go ahead, Burr. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to go, I was just going to abstract out more,
Do it.
All of the cultures that have ever produced literary works and lost in the path of history and forgotten languages, and it's all buried underneath time and bullshit.
What is the special thing?
Oh, but I agree with that. I just think that this kind of abstration is just nihilistic. Like, yes, those things have been like
why
ultimately
is nihilism bad?
No, stop.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. Let me finish.
All right, sorry.
Like, yes, in the end of the day, or the entropy will consume it all. But in the meantime, it was meaningful, and that counts, because entropy can't like go back in time and undo the time wherein it was meaningful.
What if it could?
Well, then it doesn't matter anyway.
Well, I think the point is that it's not necessarily nihilistic in the sense that this is what I mean when I say not special. Like, it can be fun and interesting, but not special.
Well, at that point, you got it. Then the word "special" becomes so abstracted that it loses all meaning. I feel like.
No. Yeah, that's the point. You've abstracted out of the word "special" having any meaning, which is why I say I'm not special.
Yeah, I don't understand why I don't understand whether there is a need for anything to be special.
Yeah, nothing is special, and everything is special.
I feel I'm more on the glass half full in that one. I feel like everything is.
No,
special.
but it's not half empty either. That's the point.
It's a
No, but
superposition.
see,
It's a
my view
superposition.
of the world is better than other people's.
Oh,
there we go. There we go. Hey, at least you're being honest.
Okay. Better in what sense? Better in reference to
No,
what?
it's not. It's a no. It's
But it's special.
This is
But
more
it's
about
special.
This is actually more about like very much about the self. Like trying not to view. This is something I learned in therapy. Is to recontextualize shit from where it makes me depressed to a point where it makes me happy.
And this is the issue, and this is just my personal contention with that, is that oftentimes what that might not be necessarily what the person is or is intuitively guiding towards. So it sounds oftentimes to me like cope. And
Well, but isn't all of life about cope?
in some degree.
Oh my
yeah.
God, he abstracted right there.
He did
He
very
did it.
much so.
No,
But
no,
but
let's
go ahead,
special,
sorry.
though, because special in this sense you can only be special in reference to another person who's more or less competent at a thing than you. So when you say you're special, does that mean that I'm better at writing books than all the people who tried and failed?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just narcissism.
No, but this is like objectively true. It's a skill that I have, and it's a skill that I have invested a fuck ton into. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm the best writer that's ever lived.
But
far from it. But I'm better than most people at it.
okay, I because you had said this is so interesting to me because you had said that in therapy what they teach is to not essentially to if you're nihilistic and it makes you depressed.
No, that's not. I'm not saying that they teach that in general.
Okay, I know. I'm saying, but if there's a thing that makes you sad, reconceptualize it so it doesn't make you sad, right?
I think actually, and this once again relates to my own personal experience, that I used to be overwhelmed by the meaning of it all.
Okay.
Like there was a phase in my life where I felt that I was very much myself, where I was just, I was just sitting somewhere and looking out at the city, and I saw all of the billions, just not billions, but like, a lot of different individual lives, each just as meaningful as the other, and they were all running in parallel to each other, and the totality of it, they're like atoms rummaging in this bottle of everything,
it's
and the
beautiful.
great sea of it all.
That's depersonalization, by the way.
Yeah, that's what's happening there.
And when I got depressed, it would be like, oh well, but none of this. Well, but then also they're all dying, and it's also mundane and boring, and all of their lives are wasted.
Okay.
But also, when I think about it more positively, it's like they're not. I mean, some of them are wasting their lives. Let's be honest, but there's a beauty to just how much meaning there is, and there is something that makes like Earth and humanity special because we, as far as we are aware, are the only people that imbue meaning to even like on our own species, like in the depths of the ocean. There's no meaning in the depths of the ocean except when we bring it there. Sharks don't observe Shark Week.
I think that's
I
think that's the differentiation I would have is that I differentiate unique and rare from special. So, because special implies
I don't. For me, that's the same thing.
That's the thing. Special implies it has some kind of intrinsic, cosmic, or universal value, in relation to something.
For me, all value is personal. So,
okay,
yeah,
it's just weird.
That may be just a miscommunication.
Perhaps it's just a language issue. But like I guess my version of special is, if I'm thinking of it, like I am comfortable with nothing being special, and I am comfortable with nothing having any kind of intrinsic universal meaning.
Well, it's about mega abstraction in the sense that so when you nest domains of competence, right? It's like it's Kierkegaard. It's like you're paralyzed by infinite choice. It's like so there's all these domains of nested competence of which any I could enter, and with which any I could be superior or inferior. But that list just, as your working memory expands, the list never stops growing. And as you abstract, the list never stops nesting. And as far as you go, it can go further, right? And so you're just sitting there like, ah.
But you can also be fucking what the guy with the eyes. What's his name?
Every guy with eyes.
The French guy with the eyes in the pipe. The existentialism guy.
You mean? Oh yeah, you can point it out that you're doing that and go, haha, you guys. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly like that's me. I'm an existentialist.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna tick every box on this list because the list is infinite. But if I find a box that is interesting, I'm gonna tick that.
Oh, are you talking about Azatoth?
No, I'm not talking about Azatoth. I'm talking about no. It's not Descartes. It's what the fuck existentialist philosopher. Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yeah.
Who is also like Kierkegaard. He's listed right next to Kierkegaard.
Yeah, Kierkegaard was the granddaddy of existentialism. I never moved past him because I felt like he covered it all.
Yeah, well, Sartre is fucking cool because he has a pipe and an eye that goes in a different direction. And apparently he was really fucking abusive.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
Yeah. And like Camus and shit. All the French people.
Oh,
yeah, but you wanted to ask questions about being neurotypical.
Yeah, I was curious to like what because it's funny.
You tried and failed. Look where we ended up. You tried to ask questions about neurotypicality.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask you questions and it doesn't. I'm trying to think of
a
question.
I put a pin in it and then I'm like, I thought we were like circling back to it.
No. What I'm saying is that I kind of attempted to ask questions to get what I guess I would probably understand it to be, but you just keep going back to answers that make sense to me.
We're all going there together is the thing.
Yeah, we keep going there together.
Noticing that we did it. We didn't choose to do it.
No.
We just noticed after the fact that we ended up here. Oh, what the fuck? Again?
Oh, look, all of chat knew it was Sartre.
Yeah. Of course they did.
Okay, Burb, help me out here. Come up with a question that is about what would be considered outside the realm of autistic or schizophrenic spectrum.
I'm gonna go take behavior. A piss and give you time
give
to
us
like
time.
brainstorm.
And then we're gonna have a question or two for you, and then we're gonna see what kind of answer you provide.
Yeah.
Let's think. Like, what's a question that you would expect a specific or more or less an answer within a certain layer?
Well, we should ask him about his specific people in his life with names and what they do.
Okay, so let's just get super concrete, right?
Well, yeah, compared to what we're doing now, yeah. Like,
okay, so let's do it. When he comes back, think of like some really concrete questions.
I don't want to go there. I'm just pushing you in that direction. I'm tired. I don't want to do that.
Okay, you don't want to think of questions? Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, you can do it. You're supposed to be the master, dude. Why are you making me do it?
I don't know. I'm tired too, bitch. I have a sore throat and I'm fucking sick.
I know. We're trying to push ourselves out of our natural.
Yeah, I know. I think we are. I think we're just both exhausted.
It's
okay,
fucking,
All right, I'll pick some questions. Let me think.
Ask him questions. He said his girlfriends were autistic. Ask him about that. Ask him about his girlfriends. I don't know.
I'll think.
Fuck, man.
Leave me alone. All right.
Okay.
Think here. Man, what's funny is when you're like me, I have trouble coming up with very concrete questions about things sometimes.
I'm tired, so I can zoom in on stuff and go over systems, or I can abstract out and think about.
I'm trying to think of equidistant questions.
I can think about being as such, but I'm so tired that I can't do much equidistant.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to do equidistant stuff too, but I'm also tired and having trouble.
You know what it's like? It's the filtering. It's like it's a matter of, it's not trying to find it. It's trying to filter out all the other stuff until something pops up, you know, like waiting until it's like, oh God, an analogy. It's like lenses are shifting, right? And so I'm doing the work of going, no, not that one. No, not that one. No, not that one. And trying to keep going as fast as possible until one shows up. That's what it's like. And it just takes a while and it's hard.
Yeah. Right now I'm exhausted, so I like my thoughts of trying to go like, what kind of question would I ask? It's like that's interpersonal, all right? That what I would expect. Like I want to ask an interpersonal question that I expect an interpersonal answer, right?
The interpersonal is irrelevant.
No, but not to this.
I know.
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying. So that's why I'm having trouble coming up with an interpersonal question. That because I don't care about those answers. But for the purpose of this little
you don't care
experiment,
about the answer, but you care about what the answer means in context.
of what we're doing and what we're discussing. Yes, that's what's killing me.
It's still
So,
uncomfortable.
oh, it's very uncomfortable. So I'm trying to think.
It's not uncomfortable because I'm traumatized about intimacy. No, it's not.
No,
It's
no.
just that's
It's
not
just
where I.
it's just hard. It's just hard for
Yeah.
me. It's not what I'm. It's not what I'm
It's
interested in.
just
It's not
not
what
one.
I'm invested in.
Not one do. Like some people do math are good at math, and some people are not. Some people are
Not
equidistant.
one
Some people
do.
are
Like
not.
we're spending the time about how to come up with a question, talking about coming up with questions. Oh my-
This is more fun than actually answering.
yes, it is very much more fun than coming
How
up
the
with a
fuck have they
question.
not figured this out yet? Is my question. How long have they been fucking interviewing us and they don't figure this shit out?
Oh my god. Okay, are you back? I think they're about to be. Okay. Okay.
Farting.
Okay, so it was kind of funny because like we ended up spending this last like 2 minutes that you were gone. I was attempting to come up with an equidistant question to ask you, and in order to listen to what I would perceive to be an equidistant answer, NT answer, but we ended up discussing the trouble that comes with trying to come up with equidistant questions and questions themselves, and we started talking about that instead. So, so I'm trying to. I can't. Okay, all right, here we go. What sort of stuff would you feel when? Well, give me an instance in previous relationships in which you were mad at your partner and why you were mad at them.
Oh god.
Always perceived abandonment, but that's not really a great NT.
No.
thing
Give me
about
give me an example, a concrete example, an instance, a story in which you and your partner got into an argument and what that argument was about and how you felt.
Would you want something reasonable or unreasonable?
Unreasonable.
Whatever. Sure.
I actually talked about this with my ex recently.
Yeah.
It was oh my god, so I used to my ex and I used to live like 3 minutes from each other. She has since moved away. I'm still living here, but it would take me like 3 minutes to go to her apartment. And because of shit with my landlord, the washing machine here is way too expensive, so I used to use the washing machine in her house in the basement. Because, I could. And I also you had to like put in coins, but it was like less money that you had to put in. And I don't even, it was like something about the washing machine was broken. And no, this is some schizo shit because I ended up like, because my girlfriend at the time was like,
no, we gotta stay. Come on, we gotta
stay
stay equidistant.
Yeah, she wasn't getting back to me, and I got super fucking angry about that because I thought she was like, damn, I don't even remember the details of the story anymore. But yeah, we got into a huge fight over the fact that the washing machine in her basement didn't work because I was like blaming her for it, even though she had absolutely nothing to do with it. Damn, this is actually difficult to come up with a concrete example of something.
Okay, this is what I mean. Okay. Let me think of a different example. I mean, because I can tell you right now, the equidistant individual, if I ask them to give me an example of a fight they got into with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, they could give me a lot of details and the reasons for it and all the interpersonally emotional reasons for why.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know the interpersonal emotional reasons, but I don't know the details of the fight.
No, like the more concrete reasons interpersonally between you and them specifically.
Okay, yeah.
I know. Does that hurt you, Burb?
No, I'm just watching us enact our own pathology live. Well, not pathology.
Their own
differences live and not be able to not do it. And
it's so funny. This is what I mean. I'm seeing it in real time as well. Okay, so how about this? What's another Very equidistant question. What sort of okay, so you say you like to write, correct? You
Yeah.
like to write, you wanna write books.
No,
and you
dude,
wanna
that's
do-
not equidistant.
No. I'm getting there. Give me a second. Okay. What sort of advantages do you think that you what sort of advantages do you want in regards to being a published author?
What?
Money and bitches.
There we go. There we
Okay,
go.
no,
That's
but
That's
okay.
equidistant. It is.
Okay. So tell us
No, I'm
about why.
serious. Like,
Okay,
Hold on.
okay,
it's
no,
like,
no, 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 no.
if
That's
you
good.
don't
That's
want to
good. That's
like
good.
go into
A
the
bitch.
abstract thing of I want
Yeah.
to touch other people's minds
Okay,
and like
yeah,
share the
yeah.
fucking
okay.
What kind
Money
of
and
bitch?
bitches. Okay, money and
What
bitches.
kind of bitches?
Okay, what
kind
kind
of
of
bitches do you
what?
like?
Why money and why
all kind of
bitches?
bitches. Or
Okay, but why
money
money?
that
Why
allows me
bitches?
to have the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want to do,
Which are more
and
abstract things. Great.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Okay,
and
But
so
what kind
and
of bitches?
bitches
Zoom in on
that
the
are
bitches.
bitches. Yeah, zoom in.
I'm also see this is where it gets into like me being like close to the NT, but then also like going away from the
No, no,
what do
no,
you
no, no,
call
no,
it?
no, no. You're crawling away. Let's get back to the bitches.
No,
Bitches. The bitches.
Bitches.
I see, no, but this is the thing. I don't have a type, is what I mean.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that a lot of people that are on the schizo spectrum, they're pansexual, they're some asexual, aromantic, they're polyamorous.
Wish I was fucking pan.
No,
I wish I
but what
wasn't.
I'm saying
I'm
is that
extremely straight, but
no,
I
no,
am polyamorous.
no, but what I'm saying is that well, you said you were. I thought you told me you were pan once.
No, I'm not pan. I'm not pan. I said I
I
was
swear,
poly.
I'm gonna pull out the receipts. I'm gonna look for the fucking DM
I'm a
Oh
right
my
here.
God.
I'm
You
gonna
still
look for.
haven't described any bitches.
Okay, describe the bitches
I
and why you want
can't,
more
they're
of
too
them.
abstract.
Okay,
We're
describe the
trying to be
bitches and why you want more bitches. What is
What do
it?
you
Because
You
I
like
want
want to
about
you want
make,
bitches?
the
I want to
big.
connect to more people and
Oh
make
my
more
god.
Oh
experiences.
my God, no, dude! You're supposed to talk about the physical bodies of the bitches. What color hair do they have? How big are their boobs?
Yeah,
I
big titties,
can't,
big butts. What makes you
I
pee
don't have
excited?
a
What
type.
is?
I like it. Sometimes just the
Oh
totality
my
of the person, where
god.
it's like this
Oh my
is
Jesus!
fucking
Oh my
nice.
god. You're
Don't
just
like big
talking our
titties?
language.
No,
Stop.
but this is what I mean. I'm not like fully NT.
No,
This is I
you're
want the
not even at
bitch.
all. What the fuck are you talking about?
I
Well,
want the
what
money and the bit. And okay,
okay.
let's go. Prestige.
I
I
want
want the
money. Okay,
prestige.
prestige. Why do you want prestige?
Because then honestly, to like get back at all the fucking bullshit people in my childhood who said like, oh, you're not smart, you're a fucking
Okay. Okay.
dumb bitch, and you will never make it, and you shouldn't even attempt to, and you should become a janitor, you piece of shit.
Okay.
I am then to have people look up to me and go, this motherfucker, he's worth something. Like he's good at what he does, and I respect him for what he does.
Uh-huh.
That idea gets my dick hard, and not
Okay, that's
just because of
equidistant.
the
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Man,
yeah.
look how much trouble we had to go to just to fucking get there. Like even okay, because dude, even in the realm of like of copulation, for me, I have to even while it's kind of hilarious. Like and this might be TMI, so I'll try to keep it as
There's
toned
no
down as
TMI for
possible.
me.
I
That
know,
doesn't exist.
I know. But point is when I'm smashing, right? What I literally have to do to get where I need to once I decided, okay, session time ending, is I have to go into this abstract place in my mind to get there. Like I have to start thinking about like bodies and physicality as such and connection through the flesh and these weird
Yeah.
ideas as like almost like a metaphysical interaction that's occurring, and then that's when I can complete. I have to. So I as long as I focus on merely the physicality of the situation, I can go for a while, a good while. And it's really funny because like my emotions or my I guess stimulation is more closely tied to this kind of other realm as well. So even my sexuality is abstract in nature. Even
I
if
have a foot in that universe, or at least a toe in it. Yeah.
so it's really funny. And so that's why it's funny. Like I have to go there just to get there. Otherwise it's not the same. Or if it's just the mechanical process, it's not as good. It'll just be kind of like, oh, okay, that was that. If unless I include that other component, it's not a big wow. Of any kind. So, bro, I hate these comment word limits. It's cutting my train of thought part out. Sorry, Swag. That's just how it's be. I don't think I limit it. I don't think I control that. Do I control?
I think there's a YouTube has a limit for that.
Yeah, I think YouTube might have a limit for that.
Yeah, but no, prestige.
I have to answer. There's a question from the comment. He says, "I know what the word means in geometry. I mean, I don't get what they mean. Would the question be equidistant?" Okay, I'll answer. How does the tip of your pinky feel when you rub it against a desk? Versus, what does it feel like to be a human?
Right, that's that big gap.
Right, it's a big gap. So equidistant is between two poles. So it's between the poles of abstraction and concretization, right? So if you zoom down into the details of an individual, right, which is specific to them, that's more concrete.
And equidistant meaning equal in distance.
Right, equal in distance between those two poles. So then you zoom out a bit, right? So now you're equidistant in the sense that you're now looking at this individual in a context of relating to other individuals. And you zoom out more and you group those, and then you relate that group of individuals to the other group.
So when you enter the realm of the hyperconcrete, you lose track of the interpersonal connection to individuals, and same when you go into the hyperabstract. When you go too far on either pole, you lose track of the interpersonal, which is equidistant. It's in between. And that's oftentimes what a lot of people that are neurodivergent in this way, in this spectrum sort of discussion, oftentimes have trouble with, is getting back to the middle.
It's kind of arbitrary from the perspective of like just contextualization, which one it's most important to pay attention to, right? Because like so much of the world is made better by people zooming in really hard on really precise little parts of the world. Right, and then so much of people's lives is made better by zooming out, and then so much of people's lives are made better by staying in equidistant. Right. So the question is, which is better? And the answer is none.
They're all good. Yeah. And they're all good, and they're all bad.
And they all matter. They're all important.
And they all don't matter, and they're not important.
Yeah. They don't matter, and they do matter.
Yeah. They matter, and they don't. They do, and they don't. And that's okay. That is okie dokes.
Okay, so here's the question. What are we doing right now when we talk about all this? What is this? Is this abstraction? What is this? Is this conversation?
We're having a conversation about how people think and a cognitive spectrum and how that's translated and so on and so forth. So I guess it's kind of on the it's far right. No, I'm just kidding. It's on the, I guess the closer to the abstraction portion for sure.
But then I had to give an example of something very concrete in order for us to understand it. So I had to zoom in.
Well, I mean, not for me to understand it.
I am actually watching a weird cooking video on Facebook, but
watch it. Watch it.
No, I'm still here paying attention. But
no, watch the weird. What about the weird cooking video?
That is disgusting. What is happening?
What's happening? What's it disgusting? What's disgusting?
No, do you know these like weird cooking videos on Facebook? I'm all like addicted to them.
Okay.
Because just they do everything just not like wrong, but like in a way where it's like, why would you do it that way? This creates no flavor. This is gonna fuck up the texture of the dish. And then it just they will have like a rest of tomato juice left over in the can and they will just not put that in. That bothers me. And also at the end of them, the dishes always look horrible, or they will do a bunch of unnecessary steps to do something that they could have done with like half the amount of work. And then the end result always looks absolutely horrific.
That's hilarious.
And they get fucking trillions of views, these fucking things.
That's depressing.
Honestly. Here's a question. Can something concrete be very large and exist at the scale of the concrete? Well, I think if you talk to a bunch of autistic whale biologists, you would find something very large that is concrete.
Yeah.
Whales.
My penis.
Whales. Everything
Yes.
about how whale bodies function.
Yeah, yeah, and
But
it's.
here's the thing. But the whale psychologists are more
What
abstract.
about? But what about an autistic astronomer?
No, yeah, that too. But no, an autistic astronomer is like zooming in on how stars function and the atomic
Yeah.
principles which govern their
So
rise and
some
eventual
big. Those
fall.
are some big objects, though.
They are quite large. No, but the point is that the psychologist of whales is zooming out to look at how orcas operate in their pods. It's
The
slightly more
the
abstract.
behavioralist, right? The whale
Yeah.
behavioralist. Yeah.
Whale behavioralist. No, but the point is that this on every area of the world you see this gradient, right? And then to be autistic or to be other side of this, whatever we're going to call that, is simply for your mind to naturally move in one direction or the other across all of these domains where this same spectrum exists, because this spectrum exists in all domains.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that spectrum exists outside of the individual person necessarily perceiving it. Like it exists outside of perception, right. Oddly enough.
And the next thing is the idea that, well, what about people who are diagnosed with both simultaneously? And the answer is that people can have differently structured parts of their brain within the same head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very complicated machine up there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what's funny about Burb. Burb is diagnosed autistic. Burb is diagnosed schizoid. Burb is always either very abstract or very zoomed in, and they have more trouble than almost anyone I've ever met trying to get equidistant. And the moment you do, they have trouble with it. They have to work real hard. They have to like meditate on it, and it requires a lot of energy, right, Burb?
Indeed.
And it's difficult, and it's very difficult for them.
Why did she make so much marinade for 3?
I like how Burger's just looking at cooking videos now.
I'm sorry, sometimes my attention is fucking leaves, but I am still actively listening to the conversation. I'm just also watching these horrible cooking videos.
Fucking Burger checked out. That's so awesome.
No, I'm still checked
I love
in,
it.
Dude.
Super checked out. Hey, you're not hurting my feelings. Don't worry.
I'm still paying attention. This is actually speaking of like the different sections of the.
I've been waiting for you to link it up to the cooking.
This is an observation that I made, which is I think that computers are inherently set up like more autistically.
Yeah.
At least the way that the user experience is structured, because it's all you put things in folders. And when you save it, you download an NFT from the internet, you put it in like a folder and a subfolder and a different folder. And I always had trouble with like, but I could put this in multiple folders. And I used to actually like copy things and put the same file in multiple folders because it was part of the same category.
Yeah.
But there's also the whole idea with which like much bigger databases are navigated, which is tagging individual items within those databases. So they're not in a category, they like have these different tags on them, and it's like the same thing, but if you like look for fucking Bored Ape, you know, you're gonna find these things to which this tag applies, as opposed to the category, like it's in multiple folders at the same time.
Yes.
Because otherwise everything just lands in a MISC folder.
Anthony said, copy the files, not symlink. Heathen.
It needs to be quick. If it's...
You've been called out.
No, I'm fine with that. I have a billion tabs open and all that. I'm fucking... If the thing isn't easy and convenient to do for me with one click, I'm not doing it. You could fuck off.
Yeah, you heard that, Anthony? You could fuck off. You heard it here. Bergerkrieg tells the people on my channel, my regulars, to fuck off. Multi-censor. Some people throw everything on the same folder and forget where it was. This is sort of irrelevant to the topic, though. No, this is all irrelevant to the topic.
One of them is me.
Yeah, this is the heathen right here that does it. Well, Burb, do you have any? Because I gotta wrap this up because baby's giving me issues, and I think they're waking up anyway. So, is there any questions or things you want to bring up that were itching? You're itching to ask Burger.
No.
Okay.
It's a very definitive no.
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 Okay.
Nope.
I hope you had a good time, Burger, with this stupid shit.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun actually.
And
I really enjoyed it.
And I
really
hope
got
it gives
into
you something to chew on, some thoughts to think about. As
Probably
far as
will,
like
yeah.
you're probably not as NT as you think. Except for apparently with your vengeance story.
I'm very high functional. I'm very high functioning. That's the fucking
Yes, there's nothing
thing.
wrong with that.
Yeah,
I'm very high
That's what I
functioning
mean with the
too.
gold
I'm like
yeah,
super high functioning.
Yeah.
Like I can hold a job. I got a fucking master's degree. I have kids. I have a wife. I can do a lot of things. But I'm definitely not equidistant. Like in most capacities, I'm not. It drives my wife insane. But so I have to make the effort to be, because like oftentimes she'll ask me a question or she'll say, "Why wasn't this done?" And I'll say, "Why does it need to be done?" And and then it's like, because this is what you do, and I'm like, is it what we do? And then it becomes an argument. So I had to learn to go, yes, these are the things that we do.
Hold on, somebody just said the universe is concrete. No. No, the universe is the opposite of concrete. Oh
it's
my
a big
God.
cloud of atoms.
Oh my God. Not concrete. Oh my God.
The universe is concrete.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Oh no.
I didn't read that. That's really funny. That's really funny. The universe is concrete.
The universe is concrete. Everything.
I know
Everything
what
that
it means, though,
ever
because
was,
everything-
it ever will be.
Everything that ever was.
Everything in the universe is concrete. It's just the universe itself isn't.
No. When you said everything in the universe is concrete, no, everything in the universe is abstract.
It's also that, but it's also concrete. It's because everything is
it's made up of concrete things.
No. It's not concrete until you concretize a piece of it, which you haven't done yet. So it's
by
still
stating
abstract.
the universe.
No, the thing that the pieces are concretized whether there is an observer or not.
Are they though?
Yes.
How?
That kind of fucking.
I don't know.
Like,
I kind of see what Burger's saying. But that's just me. Like that everything is already everything's high. Everything's on the spectrum at all times, all the time.
Well, no, we're doing foundationalism. There are things in themselves that we can know about. We're going behind Kant now. We're going back before Kant. The things in themselves, which are both concrete and abstract simultaneously.
It's actually
which
the
we can
proper
never
way to
touch.
pronounce him is cunt.
Cunt.
That's the
yeah.
You say cunt.
Cunt.
I know that I have actually had
so whenever your sign off is just referring to a philosopher.
Yes, I'm calling all of my fans philosophers. But this is several Americans have explained to me that is actually pronounced Kant. It's like, no, it's Kant. Immanuel Kant.
Cunt. Okay.
Yeah.
Cunt.
That's the... because they're like, no, but that would be swearing. It's like, no, it's Kant.
I don't know why this is funny to me.
Content.
Hinsog says, yeah, maybe it's the ultimate concrete context. We live in a universe and people are eating wheat.
What?
I don't know what that means, but I love it. People are eating wheat. We're eating wheat.
We have
they
no
do
idea
be,
what the
though.
universe is. Even in definition, we don't. If only I could properly pronounce "dar" for you. We don't know what the universe is. Well, yeah, because
just because you don't know what a thing is doesn't mean it's not a thing.
Well, it's everything. The universe is just a stand-in for everything, or God, or whatever.
Yeah, but everything is also all things that are things, and those are things that are specific things.
No, we had another comment. No, abstraction is a quality of the mind and interpretation. Everything is a quality of the mind and interpretation. Try to get out of that. Good luck.
All right. Well, in any case, if you ever if you ever want to join us again, Burger, you're more than welcome to. I had a good time. If there's anything you ever want to bring to the table, or new experiences or ideas, or whatever, or if you ever want to collab in the future on anything more,
I still have an idea for a collab,
like a video, like an actual video sort of collab.
A video.
Yeah, I'd be interested to do anything to help you create that or involve myself in it, because it'd be useful to the project and everything else as well. All right. I think that's that. So thank you for joining us, everyone. And as usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy